I did manage to read, Micah, some of the feedback that you and some of our other people graciously provided. So I appreciate the feedback. Don't stop. We always love feedback.
Well, before we get into that, should we start the show and introduce ourselves and let Ken introduce himself?
You know what? I always forget that part.
You always
You're
do.
here. You know who we are.
Huh?
I said if they're here, they already know who we are. Let's just move on.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
I'm Nitedemon. I have to put up with him. No one respawns in real life. And we have a guest this week. Joining the ever-expanding hot potato-ness of swapping Titans in and out of our show, we have Lord Ken. Or Lord Kenwa, who's joined us this week, swapping out for Peroty. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Refer to you as Lord or Ken or Kenwa? How would you
just here? We can do just Ken. Ken's fine.
Just Ken. Hello,
Yep.
Just
Ken. We already have a prince. We have a king. So it's fitting that we have a lord, I guess.
Well, I got my Iron Lord title for it's my first and only title.
A man after my own heart there.
Well, he's the Titan, so I guess I get some bonus points for you anyway, so.
No, he was a hunter, so he has hunter experience as well as Titan experience. And
a little bit of Warlock experience.
Exactly. So he's not just like set in his mindset of just, I'm in a box, I'm just going to stay in this box until I lose a bet, and then I have to play the other box. And
True.
even then, I'm not going to take in any of the stuff.
No, that's not true. I took in a lot of Titan stuff. I just still think hunters are better. Despite having to play a Titan for 2 entire seasons, I still think hunters are better. So
See,
I mean,
I don't think that, and I'm guessing.
Well, that's because you're brain damaged and you have lots of children you have to deal with, so it's expected.
Hunters are better sometimes.
He mispronounced all the time, but it's fine. So, since everybody's here, I do want to start off the show by issuing somewhat of an apology, right?
Really?
So, I know I'm arrogant, I know I'm loud, but I'm also a man that knows how to admit when he's wrong. Okay? So, I'm not wrong about people not really looking for Titans in PvE, but I was wrong about the why. Okay? So,
have you been told multiple times this week that you're wrong then? Is this why you're issuing the apology?
No, I watched the Masterclass video that gave me some insights that apparently nobody was aware of, right?
Okay.
So, Titans are whenever you see a Titan, normally it's an Arc Titan or it's a Solar Titan or whatever, right? And they're okay for ad clear. They don't do anything for boss damage. Even when you're wearing your exotic chest piece, you just don't do as much damage as you used to after it was, nerfed or whatever, right? It's still good damage, don't get me wrong, but you're not top tier anymore, right? What was shocking is people, I think, should be looking for Titans, but not the Titan that you think they should be looking for. Believe it or not, the best Titan as far as boss DPS, it's not Arc, it's not Strand, believe it or not. A lot of people thought it was Strand.
I thought you were going to say Strand.
Nope, it's not. It's one of the Solars, but probably not the one that you think. And believe it or not, the highest DPS Titan Super is your Stasis one.
Really? Glacial Quake?
Yep, almost 1 million damage in boss DPS. Almost 1 million damage.
I suppose they had to give it some, redeeming factors.
Well, we don't know when this happened. Even Astrocross was like, "Yo, am I in reality right now? Like, what am I smoking here? What happened?
They
What
did
did Bungie
change it.
change that we don't know about?
We went over the
Because a lot of
changes.
things, changed, right? Like it used to be the top damaging one and done supers were hunters, and that's still true as far as the one and dones. The hunter stripper pole that you throw, and the hunter blade barrage, right? Those are still the top two, right? But for sustained DPS, it used to be the highest damage just outright in the game, as long as the super did its full damage, used to be Hunter Stripper Pole with the exotic chest piece, right?
Right.
Surprisingly, no. That only did about 700,000 damage. The full, I mean, he missed one punch, fair enough, but that one punch would have only done like 80,000 damage, right? But, it wasn't the top. It would have come in probably second or third. The very top was the Stasis Titan. Coming in second place was the Solar Titan with the maul, the big flaming hammer, right? Not the
Right.
throwing one, the one that you slam on the ground. That one came in just behind at around 800 thousand, and I was like, "What?"
Is that with
Both
spamming
of
the
those
heavy
beat
attack?
out. No, it was like light heavy, light heavy, light heavy, light heavy. Oh no, the solar, yeah, it was spamming heavy. Yes,
Okay.
it was spamming heavy.
I thought
But
so.
the stasis one is like light heavy, light heavy, light heavy, some kind of rotation, right? But still, 800,000 blew me out of the water. I was like, what? Now, there's not a whole lot of boss phases where you're gonna have that full time limit to do all that damage. Fair enough, but the fact that it does more damage than the Hunter Stripper Pole blew me away.
Right.
So, I do think when it comes to if you have a chance for sustained boss damage, like for example, Ron, when the final boss is on the ground, at your plate or whatever, the Flaming Maul and the Stasis Titan, definitely good choices to have. Now they're not going to out DPS the rocket builds or whatever that you got going on, but let's say you're out of rockets, not a bad super to have. You run out of rockets, you run out of ammo, pop that super, do that 900,000 damage, Bob Drunk, right? So, apologies to the Titans. I gave y'all a bunch of crap saying you're completely useless in PvE outside of, ad clear. And after watching this video, I do realize you have two very well performing supers. And if you can find the boss and you can find the time, definitely worth it.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the Glacial Quake super will probably work a lot better on like more stationary bosses, like you're saying. I haven't played a lot of PvE, like high end content, so my experience with like bosses is usually just relegated to strike bosses. But for like a boss like or like a raid boss like Rolk, I don't see how a Glacial Quake would be like a viable option. And is Behemoth Titan really that good in like a Grandmaster? Like it's a neutral game? I have to wonder.
Well, the neutral game, as long as you can keep freezing things, you should be fine. Like a dust-filled grenade, since we all have the same grenades now, a cold snap grenade, if it freezes an enemy and then jumps to another enemy and freezes it, and jumps to another enemy and freezes it, you can also do a lot of damage when you do your slide ice wall that you can then crash through to do all that extra damage. I mean, I don't know. I've actually never played a Stasis Titan ever. I only ever play Arc and Solar, right? I don't know I don't know all the ins and outs of your stasis build. I'll admit that. But I mean, as long as you can keep things frozen, does it really matter? Right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, like, what can you use to freeze? Your melee, right? And I'm sure you can get your melee back pretty quick with certain builds to keep that going. I don't know about you grenades. I think keeping things frozen with a grenade might be a little more difficult. But however, whatever your primary form of freezing somebody is, as long as you can keep that on a relatively low cooldown, I think it'd be pretty good in any content, honestly.
Definitely sounds like something to think about, especially with the seasonal exotic, the Verglass Curve bow. I think that'd be pretty good with it, and maybe even like the Cadmus Ridge lens capper.
Yeah,
that might not be a bad idea with the diamond lances.
And the exotic they were using to do all this extra damage is the exotic that when enemies are in close proximity, you do extra melee damage, whatever that one's called. and that's how they were getting these really big numbers on the Titans.
Syntheseps.
That might be it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's an Astrocots video. I think it came out yesterday or the day before. Check it out if you got the time. And like, he's very shocked. I mean, to be sure, I mean, we have no idea when these numbers changed and when the hierarchy shifted so dramatically. But what you think is the strongest isn't. And Warlocks, I'm sorry to say, none of your supers get past the Hunter and the Titan stuff, guys. Oh, they need them. Y'all really need these upcoming buffs. And like, even with like the 20% buff to your Nova Bomb and your Nova Warp, it's still not going to be great because a lot of other people are getting 20% buffs to already strong supers. So, anybody looking for a well?
Not anymore.
There was one that did surprisingly well. The Stasis Super for Warlock was probably their strongest one. So, yeah.
Was that with or without the new exotic?
It was with the new exotic gloves.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. So, Titans, you're not going to hear this from me very much, but my apologies. I take back some of what I said. Turns out you are useful for something in PvE after all.
We are good. So, we're wonderful. You love us.
Well, I didn't say that.
Okay.
We're more than just bubbles. We're banner shields, too.
We are people.
Again, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know. I was on the moon today, and I was doing some of those nightmare things, really? And I had to listen. I had to finish one of those 801 contracts to get some like synthweave plate, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all out of Crucible ones, and I can't do the dungeon ones." I was like, "What do I have? What do I have?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll do this planetary one." And I was like, "All right, this shouldn't take too long." It took me like 45 minutes to an hour to get all of the percentage done. I was like, I never want to come here again.
Right. Wow, they got a lot of stuff I missed this week. Goodness gracious.
There's so much stuff to go over this week. And Ken wants to talk about some of the stuff that we went over the past couple of weeks because he has some opinions that he'd like to voice.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ken, tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little bit of backstory and why you've moved from Hunter to Titan.
I don't think we need to discuss that.
We do.
Well, I just got back to Destiny probably about a month or two before Witch Queen dropped. And I only had the Hunter for a while. And then I moved to a Warlock just to try to like kind of move out of my comfort zone. I wanted to play Shadebinder. I did not realize I had to go through the entire Beyond Light campaign again. And let me tell you, the third time I had to go through it for my Titan, it was grueling. But anyway, I was pretty much stuck on a Hunter for a long time, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to play Shadebinder. And then I saw how strong Titans were becoming, and I was like, this is really, really oppressive. In like Rumble, particularly, I was just getting beaten up by Peacekeeper Titans, and I was like, I got to do something about this. So I was like, let me just try, make a Titan, go back to probably Solar or something, and I picked up Void, fell in love with Shield Toss, and I just never looked back.
Is this pre or post Immortal? Because you know, because you mentioned the Peacekeepers, right? The Peacekeepers is the submachine gun exotic, right?
Yeah. When Ikelos SMG became really, really popular.
Okay. Yeah.
I was getting kind of frustrated because it was beating out my Last Word shot, and I was like, well, they did a lot of nerfs to Last Word and a lot of buffs to SMGs, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to move on to not greener pastures but different pastures.
Yeah, it's always green on the other side until it isn't.
Yeah, until it isn't.
So before that, did you play Destiny 1 or did you start?
Yeah. I played Destiny 1 pretty much like probably a week or two after launch. Guardians of the Galaxy came out like a month before Destiny dropped, and I really liked the way Star-Lord looked. And then I saw the Destiny 1 Warlock robes, and I was like, that looks just like a Ravenger's jacket. I was like, I gotta have that. So I picked up Destiny, played with a couple of my friends, played all the way up until Destiny 2, and then dropped off about probably Season of the Drifter, moved on to different games, and then obviously I came back before Witch Queen, so
Cool.
that's my path.
Of the Exile. Sorry, wrong game.
So you were saying there that you found that the Titans were a little bit oppressive. That maybe a little bit oppressive.
Just Peacekeeper Titans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So none of the other Titans that are out there that are that oppressive. What about now? Kind of looking at it from the community perspective, that we've now had a lot of feedback from like the devs over the last couple of weeks, from like different podcasts and YouTubers and the blog posts basically saying you guys are going to get a nerf. What's your opinion on that at the moment?
My opinion on Striker Titans at the moment is I recognize that people aren't having the most fun dueling against them because of aspects like knockout and shoulder charge being such a good high mobility tool. But me personally, I haven't had any issues fighting against them because I know where exactly they kind of stand. I need to like stand a little bit back. I use an auto rifle, shotgun, or a glaive when they get close. But I tend to keep my distance from Arc Titans because of knockout at the moment. But really, my issue is Stompy Hunters. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this coming season, he might not be getting. Because although it is situational, we are going to have that same level of oppressiveness as long as we have a dodge. But as soon as we use the dodge, we're back to being, non-jumpy hunter type creatures.
It's a strange rework for sure.
Definitely, it's whatever.
I think the thing is, for me, being a Titan, it's not like I'm in a bubble, because I do play the other two classes and I play them in PvP, and I have seen that sometimes that the Titans that I'm playing against are quite strong, but then I just take that as they're Titans. I don't see that as big a picture that they've kind of created in the community at the moment. Is that I wasn't aware of how strong the Striker Titans were, because I haven't particularly played Striker Titan for quite some time. I love the Strand, and before that I was playing Solar for like a good couple of seasons. So I wasn't kind of going with the meta as it was, and I wasn't seeing that like Striker Titans coming up against a lot of Striker Titans. So I wasn't kind of in that world of seeing how bad they were. But obviously, the higher skill of like you go up, like in Trials, I know Aztecross was saying, as you go up in the echelons of the Trial skill, you will see hunters with Le Monarch, and you will see Striker Titans, and they will have overshields. They will have
the Juggernaut shield,
the Juggernaut shields and things like that. Because maybe it's because of the lower skill level that I'm at. I'm only, I think, 1.5 KDA, and I play sixes. And when I have played Trials, it hasn't been those kind of players that I'm playing against. It's I see more hunters and warlocks, to be honest, is that I'm fighting against. So I see it from Micah's perspective.
Isn't it because it's Guardian Games and everyone you play against is not a Titan?
No, just like
could that have anything to do with it?
No. Nothing to do with Guardian Games. But I'm speaking from like Micah's point of view from last week. We're listening back to him and saying that Titans don't need a nerf. Maybe he's coming from the same perspective as me. Is that I couldn't see that the Titans needed a nerf until it was like thrown in my face by literally everybody and go, no, if you do this, then this, you can see how oppressive they can be. And I'm like, okay, fine. You mean it's nothing that I kind of I don't. That's not my play style, so it's not really going to affect me that much, which is quite nice. But maybe Micah's in the same kind of boat of that he couldn't really see that because he's
absolutely a Titan supremacist. Somebody pointed that out. Oh, 100%. The conversations we have offline, yeah, like you can't convince him that Titans need to be nerfed. He goes, no, they don't need to be nerfed. Everyone else needs to be brought up, which is a great philosophy. But that's how we got the power creep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I get his point. He doesn't want to be nerfed. He wants everyone else to come up. That's that's where I'm coming from. He just doesn't believe Titans should be nerfed ever, right? So, and the kid in the background agreeing or something. But yeah, so that's where he comes from. He doesn't believe in Titan nerfs. He just believes, well, no, if you're not as good as a Titan, then do something to be as good as a Titan. But the second you do that, now hold on, the second you do that, he starts complaining about the things that are making the other classes good, like Hunter throwing knives. He can't stand them. Hunter trip mines. He loses his mind. I'm like, bro, that's exactly what we did. You said to stay away from the Titans, so now we use throwing knives and trip mines so you can't approach us, and you're angry about it. He goes, yeah, but bro, what? We did what you said to do.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So you just want Titans to be the best. You don't want everyone to be equal. You want Titans to be better. Just admit it, And I mean, I'll admit it. I want Hunters to be better forever. So that's my 2 cents. But admit it, bro. You don't want us to be equal.
But I honestly couldn't see it from my perspective of as much as I kind of play PvP. I didn't understand what everybody was talking about.
I understand where you're getting from. It's kind of like, when you're sitting in traffic, you're like, man, this traffic is the worst, but you don't realize that you're part of the traffic. So like, to your point, like you don't notice how strong Titans are because you kind of are a Titan. Like you're having your day in the sun. And even if you don't play Striker Titan, like everyone's experience in Crucible is different. Like if you're at a lower skill bracket, you might not see all Striker Titans.
Yeah.
Because, people want to play Void or people want to play Solar or Strand or, Stasis. But yeah, everyone's experience is different in the Crucible. So you might not see that many Striker Titans. Like my personal experience when I was playing Hunter, the only Titan that I had trouble with was Void Titans with their overshields, where Bastion was king. And I was on Last Word with a Trice rifle, and I had to chew through an extra 45 points of overshield just to get the kill.
Yeah.
So.
And we have another Titan supremacist in the chat. All I hear is skill issues from everybody else. Meh.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Another one of those guys. And see, as a hunter, like, I've admitted in the past when something is broken, I'm like, oh, it's absolutely broken, and I love it. Please don't change it, right? I'm not delusional saying, no, it's completely balanced. There's nothing wrong with it, and no.
Well,
when something is broken on a hunter, I admit it.
I was surprised last week when listening back to you about how reserved you were about the Hunter exotics getting. I mean, that they are. Some of them are getting a bit of a nerf, and
a lot of a nerf. And especially with the throwing knife. But with Micah already having a big chunk of what he had to say for the Titans, I just figured it wasn't the time to talk about how the Hunter throwing knife is getting a real big nerf that I don't think is necessary.
I don't think it's gonna affect Athrus's Embrace the way people are worried about. I still think when you use Athrus's Embrace, it's gonna magnet right to their face or any part of their body where it's going to get the one-shot kill.
But even the magnet, it's not that great. He and I tested it in PvP, right? The further you are, it does kind of increase the magnetism the further I am away from you. But it's not like, I throw it, a meter away from you and it's going to curve towards you. No, it's nowhere near that bad, It's more like if I'm aiming at your shoulder, it's going to hit you in the head. If I'm aiming slightly off of your shoulder at a distance of like 20 meters, it's going to hit you in the head, right? It's got some pull, yes, but it's not like people say it is, Now on the bounce, well, the bounce is sentient, bro. We don't know what's going to happen on the bounce, right? It hits, it misses, it does shenanigans, right? But yeah, I mean, but the thing that I don't get about the Embrace is like, what's the point of the extra strength, Like the only thing that I can think of is if I whiff the knife, I keep the strength buff, and that strength buff is going to help me get the knife back faster. That's the only thing I can think of. But if you land the hit, the strength buff goes away. You don't have it anymore, and now you don't have a knife.
Well, you don't need it because you should be using the fragment that returns your the aspect, right?
That's only
what is the aspect?
Crit kill, right? If I body shot kill you, which I'm definitely capable of, I don't get the knife back.
I think it counts as a precision kill when it's empowered through Athrus's Embrace.
Disagree. That's why a lot of hunters that use the Athers's Embrace, you see us also using the Divinity to give us that big Divinity bubble. That way, when we do quote body shot you, we get the knife back, because otherwise we won't. And
I commend Titan or hunters that use the throwing knife effectively. Whether they lay a trip mine in the right place and I end up walking over it and they get me with it after being weak from a gunfight, or if they come around the corner and they time that weighted throwing knife just perfectly, I applaud them every time. I'm never mad. That's a huge. It is kind of easy sometimes, depending on the opponents you're fighting. But I commend them every time. I think it's a huge play.
Yeah, I mean, you also need to know where to throw it, and there's a skill / luck instance to that. It's not all skill and it's not all luck. It's kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
You see a guy chasing you, like, I'm throwing it at my feet because I know some guy's chasing me, and I'll run around the corner, throw it at my feet, and he continues to chase me. So well, that's on you. You shouldn't have followed me around the corner. You never, ever, ever follow a hunter around the corner. You just that's dumb. Just like you never chase after a Titan. He's going to turn around and he's going to shoulder charge you. Just don't do it. So
Yep.
I mean, yeah. If you're going to chase me around the corner, well, you kind of deserve what you got coming, bro. Sorry.
Well, you can chase me because I don't run shoulder charge.
Well, good to know.
If you chase me, you might actually get you might get me.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been on. If I've used a Striker Titan, I haven't really used like shoulder charge for quite some time, because I used to like using it with Insurmountable Skullfort to get the one-shot kill. Now it doesn't even do the one-shot kill with or without that. I mean, I suppose I'd have to use like Syntheseps and things.
Well, the Skullfort doesn't empower. The Skullfort just gives you the melee back.
Yeah, but that's how I used to roll.
Your
Peregrine Greaves.
Peregrine Greaves, and the one that electrifies a big AoE area. What's that?
Dune Marchers.
Dune Marchers. That's what gets you the kills.
Yes, but I don't use those. Peroty's the kind of Titan that uses those. And again, he doesn't kind of use those as much if he's using his Sweet Business with his Actian Warwick.
Oh, he's going to be using it so much more.
Oh,
now.
He is. It is.
Oh, my God. Those changes are ridiculous.
But I kind of felt for you guys, the hunters, when they said that they were changing the way that the Stompies were kind of going to be functioning next season. And I was like, is that really fair to kind of hinder average players because of the higher skill players?
I didn't think any changes they made to it were fair to begin with. Like, you saw how incredibly livid I was when they gave it a -50 penalty for in-air accuracy.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like, are you kidding me?
have removed that now.
Oh, yeah, but they called that a buff. Oh, we buffed it by removing the thing that should have never been there to begin with. Sorry.
But I suppose it does depend on how much you keep your dodge energy up, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, they've also nerfed the timer too last season. Now, what used to be an 11-second dodge is now a 13-second dodge. We got to wait a whole 2 other. I know you're like, 2 seconds. Well, 2 seconds in PvP is a long ass time. Okay?
It's a huge amount of time. It is.
Yeah,
and they know that, don't they? When they do these changes, they know that this could be the make or break of a play.
Absolutely.
And so good.
Yeah, the dev commentary last week, you were talking about how it didn't make any sense how you could it's for ambush or escape. I do understand what they mean by that. They say like using Stompies in an aggressive way is the ambush, but the escape
I get the ambush
is the dodge. You can ambush and then escape, but you can't re-engage the ambush. I think that's what they're trying to go for.
Okay. But the dodge is just the dodge. That doesn't have anything to do with the Stompies, because you dodge to get out, and then your Stompies are useless for another 13 seconds, assuming you've got max, mobility, right?
Yeah.
Which not a lot of hunters do. A lot of hunters, we don't need mobility because we make up for it in other ways. In PvE, for example, right? We don't need max mobility because you kill a thing here, you dodge back or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't get those same mods don't work in PvP, so you can't have the same kind of infinite dodge in PvP that you can in PvE. So that you have to rely on that mobility, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
absolutely.
I think the thing that is going to be quite oppressive next season is going to be the no backup plans for the Titans.
I
the
agree
age.
completely.
I don't understand. I mean, listening to the Destiny Massive Breakdowns podcast, the podcast versus enemies, where they had Chris Proctor on there and Rodney Thomas, and they were talking about that when they go into development, these things are kind of 6 to 9 months in advance. So when No Backup Plans came out, they were very underwhelming. You know, if you didn't know what they did, I would just find them and quickly run through them. Oh, where's my Titan gauntlets? The only ones that I don't actually use.
I
No
thought they
Backup
were
Plans.
good before.
I think they were good in Destiny 1, but when they brought them over to Destiny 2, they weren't that good. So at the moment, it says when you have full void melee energy, shotgun final blows grant a void overshield and consume your melee energy. Shotgun final blows also give you melee energy and provides a moderate benefit to airborne effectiveness stat of your shotguns. So if you don't have your melee energy and you get the kill, you don't get the overshield. In Destiny 1, you could have your overshield with your force barrier, and every time you got a shotgun kill, it just kind of got refreshed. So that's how it worked in Destiny 1, going back
Yeah.
on Dim there. But going forward with completely reworking it, it now provides a moderate benefit to airborne effectiveness and reloads the speed of your shotguns while you have a void overshield, and shotguns deal additional damage with shotgun final blows, refreshing your overshield. You're going to see a lot more Titans rocking these with shotguns in PvP, and
Yep.
this may
So
be
more shotgun apes. I love it.
yeah,
It's going to be so oppressive.
it is.
Mhm.
And they must have known this was going to, if they're going to nerf, they must have known that they were going to nerf the Striker Titans. So the Titans are going to swap to Void and be putting these on with shotguns. It doesn't make sense, if you see what I mean.
When we get to the seasonal artifact and the TWAB this week,
Yeah.
people are going to really see why this is going to be insane.
I know they want to hammer down all the nails, but they're like, they pulled this one right up and gone, here, just play with this one. And not that I'm worried, but it's just...
Yeah, you just have to adapt and just switch up your play style if it becomes too crazy.
But the thing is that everybody's in agreement at the moment with the Striker Titans, that they're oppressive and they're too much. And it's just going to be next season, this is going to be the oppressive thing. And they're going to complain about the devs loving Titans like Respawn does. You know, they love the Titans so much that they take away one thing, they give them something
They
even
do.
more oppressive. They have.
But-
I agree with you.
But no, I mean, but the thing about it is unlike but they are actually kind of. I don't think it's going to be as bad, only because they're nerfing the mobility, right? Our Titans are so impressive because they have high mobility and potential one-hit KOs, right?
Yeah.
Now with the shotgun, that's going to be one hit KO, and they're going to have their melee. But every time they use their melee for mobility, they're going to lose some of that melee energy. You know what I'm saying?
But what are Titans going to be speccing into next season? It's going to be strength, because they want to get that melee back as quick as possible. And with the strength, they're then pushing more into the melee and the shotgun kind of oppressive, in your face. It's all rolled into one. It's going to be terrible as a Titan to listen to the fact that we know this is coming.
Yeah. And it's just you're just gonna have more trip lines waiting for you. That's all. Just don't complain. You know.
Mhm.
God, I hate other trip lines. We'll stop rocking a shotgun, bro.
I think the perk Pugilist is going to be a little more popular next season with the shoulder charge nerf, because kills with a gun with Pugilist grant a little bit of melee energy, so you're gonna get that shoulder charge back a little bit faster. Monte Carlo, baby. That's the gun. That's the gun that I like to use right now with a shield toss.
Or any of my hunter knife throwing builds, Monte Carlos, you have to.
It's great.
The thing is, you could have a primary shotgun, and you can craft a Brigand's Law if you already kind of were there last season. And with Brigand's Law, it came with the right hook perk, which is dealing melee damage gives the weapon increased target acquisition, range for a short period of time, and dealing melee damage again extends the effect. Also, you can craft it with enhanced perks, so it comes with enhanced swashbuckler. The weapon gains increased damage for an improved duration for melee final blows and defeating targets with this weapon. And the Pugilist, an enhanced Pugilist. So again, that extends the duration even more. So you could really spec into this and really go to town with meleeing, shotgunning, and really in your face with like sidearm, like the Brigand's Law.
Yeah.
And it won't be limited to just Arc Titan. You can expand out to every other subclass of Titan too.
No, this is Void.
Only Void?
As far as I'm aware, the stronghold, it's not strongholds, the no backup plans, it works with Void overshields. It won't give you a Void overshield if you're on a Striker Titan.
I was thinking of the melee thing.
So I can see that suppression grenades, shotguns.
My god, suppression grenades! Oh no! You know what? I take it back. Leave the Arc Titans alone. Although I've seen so many Titans nuke themselves with their own suppression grenades.
Which I'm one of them. Times, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, I love the few times I did play when they'd hit me with it and I'd run towards them and get us both. It just ends up in a gunfight anyway.
One that I'm excited about is the Kepri's Horn, which I've started using this season because of, I think it was Astrocross pointed out before we got Strand, that this would work with Strand. So what I do actually like doing is, especially in PvP, it's been so much fun to wear the Kepri's Horn and pop my barricade, and they get strung up with Strand, but then they also get the wave of the solar damage, and then it comes back and gets them again. And all I have to do is kind of pop around the barricade and shoot them a little bit, and they're dead. It's been great fun. And now they get solar damage. It gives them Scorch as well. So they only get one Scorch tick, apparently, because I think on one of the podcasts that I've listened to this week, the dev it either gets them on the way out or the way back in. For
what?
For the solar wave. You know when you pop your barricade?
Oh, the way. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm caught up. Yeah.
It will give you a Scorch, but it's only one thing of Scorch. So, it's something nice and new. So
it's not a detonation. And how much damage does that do? I mean, that absolutely makes or breaks a fight, dude.
It does enough damage to kill them, but will it do enough Scorch to cause an ignition? We don't know.
No, but it gives that exotic a little bit more functionality and a bit more kind of maybe try and take it into PvP and use it. Has saved my bacon a couple of times.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you hit someone who's already got some Scorch stacks on them, which are actually getting a buff, they're going to be staying on your opponent longer. So you might have enough time to, whip out a Skyburner's Oath and, put 2 slugs in them and cause an ignition. So who knows?
Were there any other exotics that you wanted to kind of touch on this week?
Yeah, I can go over some really, really quickly. Eternal Warrior buffs, super, super great, as long as they still give the overshield while Fist of Havoc is working. I think that'll be great. It also does negate precision damage too, so you can't be sniped out of the head.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, that's actually on the exotic right now. Stronghold, super, super great. Changes to that, giving restoration ×2. So that's going to be, as long as you have sword ammo, you have basically restoration ×2 on demand at any time you want.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be a timing thing though? Because it's when you stop blocking, so in the middle of kind of fighting. Because I think initially
it's after you've been shot. It's after your shield's been hit or whatever.
Yeah, but I think at the moment, isn't it? You have to kind of time the way that you're blocking to get that.
No, that's the knees. That's the slide thing you're talking about.
No, stronghold.
No. It says when you stop blocking, gain restoration ×2 with a duration that increases based on the number of shots you blocked. I think you can't refresh the timer. Here, this is my prediction. You won't be able to refresh the timer. You'll have to wait for the timer to go away, but you'll still have restoration the whole time. So I guess you just reblock with the sword, get hit a couple times, and then enjoy restoration.
And then if that sword happens to be, of a chainsaw variety, then, you also get bonus damage as well. Yeah. So, just saying. Potential endgame builds next season, just saying.
The change to the Path of the Burning Steps from, 40% extra damage in PvE to, was it now 25%? That's a little unfounded. I still like the being encased gives tier 4 bonus damage, but that's super niche. I could see that being strong against like Shadebinder Warlocks that are doing the Freezing Rift that is getting a buff next season.
Yeah, but it only gives 6% in PvP.
it could be enough. You never know.
Yeah, I think where they've kind of put everybody down to like the 6% in PvP, no matter what kind of exotic it is, it's kind of across the board. So everybody's kind of been hit in the same way.
Yeah, it's just trying to balance all the damage bonuses out, which I understand. No one likes outliers.
The tallest nail is the one that hits first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. They have to wait 6 months.
Which I guess was why Mantle of Battle Army got hit so hard.
Oh, dude.
The changes to Doom Archers, that was completely justified. A lot of people won't be excited to hear that coming from me. But the Chain Lightning is just, it's super powerful. I mean, I haven't gotten killed by it too many times, but I've seen it just annihilate full groups of people.
Oh,
especially after like
in Iron Banner, I've seen Micah take out an entire group of people with one of those hits. Like they're on the capping the point. Yeah, they're on the capping point. He jumps in the air, comes down with that AoE punch thing, and just all 5 of them dead. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
I've missed out on playing this, haven't I?
Yeah.
And 12 meters, that's respectable. And 50 damage, again, also respectable. So I don't see that being
one shot an entire group of people. Yeah, that's
85 damage is crazy. That's more than a radiant hand cannon shot from a 120. Like that's everything, really. And then warlocks, they get a lot of great buffs. Obviously, Starfire Protocol, Warlock. What are they calling it? Warlock Redemption Day or something like that.
We'll see about
Freedom
that.
Day.
We'll see about that. Even with a lot of these buffs, there's a lot of stuff that's underwhelming for their whole class.
I mean, I do like the change to the chromatic fire, so increasing the radius and the damage of the explosion created by the precision kinetic takedowns.
That's going to be so great.
And then, depending on whatever kind of subclass you're rocking, I like the idea of maybe rocking Arc to get the blinding effect, or even the Scorch with the solar.
Yeah,
not 100% with stasis, but it could happen because we see a lot.
Is it actually blind? Because if it's actually blind, that'd be really good for champions.
Well, no, I'm thinking PvP. I'm thinking, if
yeah, fair enough.
You use this with something like Ace of Spades, and I
was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think everybody is. You get that explosion damage, and it's got high caliber rounds and the Firefly on there.
Or Outbreak Perfected would be another good one.
Yeah, it's
bad juju. Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah.
No, bad juju too. It's getting a change. They're fixing something on bad juju, so totally valid.
Yeah, the fixing its recoil, how it recoils. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to sound like a fanboy because I am a fanboy.
You are a fanboy.
It's a great gun. I mean, I know I never use it because there's other guns out there that fit certain builds better. But I mean, you got built-in freaking what's it? Rampage, built-in Rampage. That also gives you more and more super the more stacks of Rampage you have, and it auto reloads on kill, and it was full auto, which used to mean something. But I mean, I guess those days are gone. But I mean, it's just such a fun gun, and then aesthetically, it's just angry, and I love it.
Were there any other exotic armor things that you wanted to touch on, Ken, before we move on to weapons?
I don't think so. Great that they're getting rid of the extended melee range on Ophidian Aspect. I'm very happy about that. I don't like getting slapped by warlocks that are 8 meters away from me. I don't think that's a little fun. I don't do that to other people, so
that's not how it works. You know that. Just because you don't do it doesn't mean that they can't.
Well, now we're on even playing field again.
Well, semi-even.
Want to stay clean? All buffs and debuffs gone.
Yeah.
So that was last week's Season 121 Exotic Armor Tuning preview, and it was just a preview because I think that they hinted at. I'm sure it was over in the Massive Breakdowns PVE podcast that these are kind of only the majority of the changes. There will be slight other ones that they kind of haven't touched on, and the same with the weapons that we're going to talk about in a second. That there's only so much they want to kind of let us know in the preview, and then when they go on the podcast, they throw out a few more nuggets and go, well, there's this, and then there's this, and things like that.
I do have one more I want to talk about. It's one of the ones on here that everyone talk smack about. No one thinks it's going to be any good. I mean, maybe now, but before everyone thought it was laughing like a joke. Second Chance. That's my favorite Titan exotic. I love throwing shields. I
I've
throw
never even
all the
heard of
shields.
that. That's an exotic? The hell is that?
Yes. It gives you
Yes.
an extra shield throw, and the shield throws become barrier piercing. They work well
Really?
against barrier champions.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
this a new exotic?
No,
It's
been out for a while.
from Season of the Haunted,
Wow, that's oof.
but
let me
now it's
try
going to weaken. It's going to weaken in addition to providing you with an overshield.
I tell you what, Ken, it just shows you that somebody doesn't listen to my This Week in Destiny videos, because I point out every single week that you can use this against barrier champions.
Yeah, that's true. No one thinks about it.
And it just goes to show you that after 4 years of doing a podcast together, somebody still hasn't realized I don't listen to it.
Maybe I should go back to telling people what's happening this week in Destiny on the show. So I'd
No!
force you.
No,
I didn't
we
mean
just
it. I
moved
take it
past
back.
that.
I take it back, man.
Hello and welcome to the first week of Season 21, Season of the Deep, starting on May 23rd, 2023. So for week 1, let's have a look at our legacy rotation, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a strong curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in Ria Silvia, and has the Dark Monastery mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Taken Enemies and the Plague Inomina. The Ascendant challenge this week will be Ouroboros, which can be located over in the Aphelions Rest Lost Sector on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is in the Deep. The Trove Guardian and the Wandering Nightmare, Jax, Claws of Zivora Wrath, are both located at the Hellmouth. And the Nightmare hunts this week will be Crota, Despair, Fogoth, Fear, and Ghoul, Rage. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Praxix the Technocrat will be the Empire Hunt, Cadmus Ridge will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Safeguard. For the 30th anniversary expansion, we have the loot rotation for Dares of Eternity, which will be on week 1's rotation with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set being available. The weapons available this week will be the Arc Lightweight Frame Bow Arsenic Bite 4B, the Arc Adaptive Frame Heavy Grenade Launcher Blast Batu, the Solar Precision Frame Linear Fusion Rifle Corsair's Wrath, the Void Waveframe Energy Grenade Launcher Deafening Whisper, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Hand Cannon Dire Promise, the Kinetic Precision Frame Sidearm Enigma's Draw, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Submachine Gun Escape Velocity, the Arc Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle Giant 7 Rifle, the Kinetic Precision Frame Submachine Gun Friction Fire, the Void Precision Frame Scout Rifle Royal Chase, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Hand Cannon True Prophecy, and the Solar Adaptive Frame Fusion Rifle Timeline's Vertex. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Ritual, where the modifiers are Galvanized, Biopit, Void Threat, Solar and Strand Surge, Overcharged Grenade Launcher, as well as Barrier and Unstoppable champions. Also this week you will have Altar of Reflection Catalyst and Altar of Reflection Pact. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Veritas Armour, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. For the Lightfall expansion, the weekly mission is Breakneck, with extra shields, lock loadouts, and extra champions. Barrier, Overload, and Unstoppable champions, Void Threat, Pestilence, Kinetic Overcharge, Strand and Solar Surges, with overcharged rocket launchers and galvanized on hero difficulty only. The Partition mission will be Hard Reset, Contest Mode enabled, with Barrier and Unstoppable champions, Arc Threat, Scorched Earth, Pestilence and Martyr modifiers, Void and Strand shields, with Void and Strand surges. And the Vex incursion this week will be Liming Harbour. In addition, the weekly Lightfall reset also refreshes the pinnacle drop for the Node Override Avalon exotic mission on the EDZ. Raids and Dungeons. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the first encounter, Cataclysm, called Illuminated Torment. This is where every Tormentor must be killed by a player with the Field of Light buff. The King's Fall raid challenge this week is the first encounter, Totems, called The Grass is Always Greener. Players cannot take the same brand type twice in a row. The Vow the Disciple challenge this week is the second encounter, the Caretaker, called Base Information, where runners cannot pick up more than one stack of knowledge on each run. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the second encounter, Oracles, called The Only Oracle for You. Players cannot destroy the same Oracle more than once. The Deepstone Crypt challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Tanix, called The Core 4. Guardians must dunk all 4 cores before each DPS phase. And the Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the second encounter, Spire Defense, called A Link to the Chain. This is where all Guardians must receive the Enlighten buff at the same time. Your Pinnacle raid will be the Last Wish over on the Dreaming City, which means all challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the first encounter, Kali, called Summoning Ritual. Players must activate and cleanse all 9 plates, then kill all 9 knights and ogres before damaging Kali. The second encounter, Shirochi, called Witch Witch. Guardians must not get hit or take damage from Shirochi's Arc Blast. The third encounter, Morgoth, called Forever Fight. Players must not kill the small ogres during the encounter. The fourth encounter, Vault, called Keep Out. Guardians must ensure that no Might of Riven knights make it to the centre chamber during the Vault fight. And the fifth encounter, Riven, called Strength of Memory, where Guardians must not shoot the same Riven eye twice. Also, with the Last Wish being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic heavy fusion rifle, 1000 Voices. And the Pinnacle dungeon for this week will be the Duality, over on the Derelict Leviathan on the Moon. Next up, challenges. As this is a new season, the challenges won't be available until the Season of the Deep goes live in-game. And this is also the same for the Eververse store for Week 1. But stay tuned to this channel for the updated Week 1 video for any missed information.
Hello!
Also, with this being a new season, we will have a legendary Lost Sector shakeup, meaning we won't know the order of the Lost Sectors until we've had a full rotation. But as a reminder, your daily Lost Sector will show you a flag outside, which will give you details of threats, shields, champions, and exotic armor you will find inside. But if you're new to the game or you're using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the Lost Sector normally to have it show up on your map as a Legend/Master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you'll only be able to earn a chance at the exotic drop when completing solo.
Lead the way.
Our first featured Nightfall of the season will see us face off against Sepkis Prime in the Devil's Lair Nightfall over on the Cosmodrome, where you have a chance to get a Pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. This Nightfall is free to play. You'll be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, ascendant shards, and adept Nightfall ciphers. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with ascendant shards in God and Masters. Legend and lower Nightfalls will have 4 barrier and 8 overload champions, with 5 solar, 8 void, and 17 arc shields. Masters will have 4 barrier and 15 overload, with 5 solar, 8 void, and 8 arc shields. Your Nightfall modifiers are hero difficulty, maximum effective level 1765, matchmaking is available, enemies have extra shields, champions foe, you will face barrier and overload champions, you can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. Arc threat, 25% increase to incoming arc damage. Arak no, when defeated, Fallen Vandals spawn a web mine at their feet. Overcharge weapons. Weapons overcharged from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity. Kinetic weapons do increase damage when your subclass element matches the active surge. Void Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing void damage. Strand Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing strand damage. Overcharged Linear Fusion Rifle, 25% bonus damage to Linear Fusion Rifle damage. Galvanized, combatants have more health and are more difficult to stun. Legend difficulty, maximum effective level 1815, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. No matchmaking. Equipment locked, you'll be unable to change your equipment once the mission starts. Master difficulty, maximum effective level 1820, includes all previous modifiers except Galvanized. Champions Mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. And Togetherness, base health regen is reduced, if near another player health regen is increased. To combat champions this season you have access to subclass counters as well as a choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods, which are Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, Overload Scout Rifle, and Overload Trace Rifle. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For Anti-Barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wishender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Ariana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword, the Lament, and the Titan Exotic Gauntlet, Second Chance, which gain a second charge of your shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. And for Overload, the Void Energy Bow, Le Monarch, the Arc Energy Linear Trace Rifle, Divinity, the Arc Heavy Machine Gun, Thunderlord, and the Warlock Exotic Boots, the Secant Filaments, which, when you drop an Empowering Rift, any weapon that is fired from inside the well can cause an Overload champion to be stunned. And the Grandmaster Nightfalls will return on June 27th. Lord Shaxx brings Momentum Control to the Crucible playlist for the first week of the season. Momentum Control is a 6v6 PvP mode which is a variation on the regular control mode, where every weapon is significantly higher in lethality, meaning that you can take out your opponents much faster than normal. Respawns are instant, and defeating enemy players in Momentum Control will grant faster regen on your melee, grenade, and super. Players get increased damage resistance when they activate a super, to help counteract that little bit of extra damage that the guns give out. The mode also has increased capture speeds on points, and radar is removed for every player. Achieve victory by capturing zones and defeating opponents. And Rift will also be returning this week in the Relentless Crucible playlist. Rift is a 6v6 game mode that focuses heavily on objective-based gameplay and not just killing the enemy team. Instead of accruing points based on defeating enemies, players can score points by picking up the spark and dunking it into their opponent's rift, which is near the enemy spawn. A team can either win by scoring 5 points before the opposing team can, by scoring 3 points without the enemy team getting a look in, or having more points when the time runs out. The spark spawns in the centre of the map and starts to charge after 6 seconds of the round starting, and becomes visible for all players on the map. After another 12 to 13 seconds, the spark is available for players to pick up, giving both teams approximately 20 seconds to fight over the spark before either side can pick it up. For 5 seconds after a player picks up the spark, they become marked on both teams' maps. After that, they are only marked on their own team's map unless they are in view of the enemy team. The carrier can only hold on to the spark for 1 minute and 15 seconds. After that, the spark detonates, killing the carrier and those around them before resetting. Should the carrier die in any way that isn't from the spark detonating, the spark drops at that location. If a player picks up the spark whilst in their super, they are immediately pulled out of their super. Furthermore, they will not gain more super energy while holding the spark and will be unable to use their super even if it is fully charged. If a player dies, they must wait 10 seconds before they respawn, but their teammates can revive them during this time. This forces the players to focus on teamwork to help push up on their enemies, but can also leave some players out of the game for an extended duration if their team can't or won't revive them.
Delightful!
Trials of Osiris will be returning this season with some new loot to chase, like the Unexpected Resurgence Glaive and the returning Messenger Pulse Rifle. There are also some new rewards for players who make it to the lighthouse and open the chest. These include the Hero's Wake Exotic Ghost Shell, the Valiant Memory Exotic Ship, the Survivor's Journey Exotic Sparrow, and the new Trial Shader, Glorious Patina. And this season we'll see Trials of Osiris Dominion. Trials continues to be a 3v3 PvP high-stakes game mode, but with the twist of a capture point. In Dominion, 2 teams of 3 go head-to-head in a battle for control of a capture point. Teams can either work together to capture the point, or eliminate the enemy team to win the round. Only available from Friday Reset until Tuesday Weekly Reset, Trials gives every player the chance to show off their PvP skills to obtain some of Destiny's most sought-after weapons and armour. Players that compete in Trials of Osiris will have all of their games tracked through a passage card, a ticket purchased from Saint 14 in the lower hangar of the tower. Winning rounds and matches in Trials will grant exclusive weapons, armour, pinnacle gear, master material, and even adept gear for the most skilled players who can reach the lighthouse with a flawless ticket of 7 games won and no losses. 5 round wins will bag you that match for your passage card. By competing in Trials, you do have a chance to pick up 2 pinnacle engrams from playing each week, one from 50 round wins and the other from winning 7 games. These do not have to be done all in one go, but you do have to complete them before the weekly reset.
That is amazing.
And that's it for the first week of Season of the Deep.
Guardian down.
Yeah, but that's it for me on the exotic armors. Congratulations to all classes. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I do look forward to the changes each season. When they do change things, it's always a nice thing to see that there's going to be new play styles and new things that kind of come up. And I think maybe this time it will be the season that the stuff that I'm using is going to be the thing. But then sometimes I think maybe I don't want it to come up too much because I enjoy using it the way I'm using it. And if it comes up too far, then it's going to get nerfed. A bit like the Oathkeepers and Le Monarch. I'm not happy about that because those are my things.
Why
When
not?
I
It still works. You still get to hold it back at perfect draw for longer than what's normal.
yes, but what,
You know, it's
no,
just
but
not indefinite anymore. And
Le
now you get a
Monarch,
damage bonus when
Le
you didn't used
Monarch
to.
is getting a nerf.
I thought Oathkeepers always gave a damage bonus.
No, Oathkeepers just hold.
Yeah,
If
they just
you're-
held it at the perfect draw
Oh.
indefinitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
okay.
now they give a damage bonus.
Oh, so it's a buff.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a buff.
but
I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a buff
a
and enough
timer.
because you can't
It's like
hold
a
it
timer.
indefinitely anymore. There's a timer that you have now that holds it at a perfect draw.
Well, no, you can
And-
hold the perfect draw, but the damage that you can get from bows is going to only be on a timer. So maybe with Le Monarch, you literally have to fire it straight away to kind of get that damage buff. Maybe that's why they're kind of nerfing Le Monarch as
There's a timer on it though. You have time. You know, you don't have to just sling it immediately. You got a couple seconds.
yeah, but yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's just not indefinite anymore. That's the thing, right? Now
that's fair.
you're thinking Le Monarch, right? And of course, my brain goes to PVE. I'm thinking of it with Leviathan's Breath. You know, Leviathan's Breath is already doing a lot of damage this season, especially if you may or may not be using a certain FPS glitch that triples the damage. No, it's not Dead. Dead definitely does not do that. No, no.
Are you implying that you are altering your performance?
Absolutely not. No, I just know that if you're running a high frame PC and you happen to be using a certain heavy exotic bow, that the bow does triple damage. That's all I'm saying. And as long as that isn't fixed with the buffs to the Oathkeepers next season, that gets an extra 25% on top of that. But at the same time, if you have high FPS, you're also getting one shots. So there's a trade-off, you know?
There is.
Pay to win, pay to lose. Okay.
Yep. So
So-
yeah, all right.
As we're talking about weapons, let's move into Season 21 Weapon Changes preview.
Oh
So
my goodness.
We've got Chris Proctor this week to tell us about what's happening. For Season 21, they've got some substantial number of changes to the hip-fire reticles, with various changes to a bunch of exotic weapons and other
Thank you.
few bits and pieces.
Thank
So let's
you.
get into it. So the weapon reticles, they've done, which is really cool this time, is that they've actually done some videos, which probably Respawn will play now that he's kind of streaming about what's actually happening with the different reticles.
Mhm.
On the Destiny Community podcast for Firing Range this week, they had Eric Smith and Mercules, who went into a little bit more detail about the changes to the weapons, because they all got to hear about it like a couple of days in advance and kind of got to put some questions together. So I will link the Massive Breakdowns PvE podcast in the show notes and the Firing Range podcast in the show notes, because those things this week are a kind of a must listen to if you like listening about your cones and these kind of finite changes to the game. But I mean, to do with the zoom, I mean, they say that zoom is one of the most powerful stats, and increasing the zoom equals damage fall off, auto aim assistance distance, and it increases the accuracy and decreases the recoil. So what they're actually going to do now
It also screws with the cones and things like that too, but yeah.
Yeah, it's now like the damage fall off is now no longer going to be affected, and they're now going to put fixed damage fall off, so like scalers, for every weapon type that when they're ADSing. Apparently, it's not going to have that big of an effect. It's not like
That just killed rangefinder.
No. Rangefinder will still do auto aim assist distance, increase the accuracy, and decrease the recoil. So it still has some benefits. They've just taken away the damage fall off thing from it. So they've hammered down that nail.
Damage
basically.
fall off's a big deal. It doesn't matter if it auto aims if it doesn't do any damage.
You then have to. But I think
Not
they were using like the Immortal submachine gun as an example, like. With rangefinder on that, it kind of pushes the boundaries of where it should be hitting, whereas
Absolutely
against other aggressive kind of submachine guns, apparently all aggressive submachine guns are going to get toned down anyway, as well as the Immortal. But it's just they've built this brand new tech basically to change the zoom so that they can then alter these with the weapons, and it's not going to be as significant as as you think it's going to be. So the pulse rifles aren't going to kind of the only things that are going to be able to compete with a scout rifle or like a sniper rifle and a scout rifle. That you will still have kind of some of these ranges that you will be able to kind of fight in, but it's not going to be as oppressive as it is now. Like you're getting outshot with a submachine gun instead of like a hand cannon or vice versa.
Oh yeah,
or
what you
an
mean is
auto
like,
rifle.
like
Yeah.
when I have a scout rifle and I'm shooting him at scout rifle range and I get killed by an immortal, something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they want to kind of address, is that there are ranges that you should be able to use these weapons in, and with them actually kind of being able to build this new tech to change the zoom, to then change the rangefinder, to then change the damage, the fall off scalers, is going to help in the long run, but it's kind of taken a long time to get there, basically.
Right. No, I think that's great. Probably you need to separate damage fall off from rangefinder a little bit. That'd be good. We don't want any kind of SMG to be dipping its toes into like auto rifle range. Like we want there like to be a small like in a Venn diagram, a little bit of overlap, but not like to the point where Immortal is outdoing my Monte Carlo from like optimal auto rifle range. It just feels bad at the moment. So I think walking that range back on the Immortal and aggressive SMGs as a whole is definitely going to be good for the Crucible.
Yeah. I mean, they said that the two reticle elements on most weapons illustrate the current cones for auto aim, aka bullet bending, and accuracy, which is error angle, using movement circles and crosshairs. These are clamped in size on screen to avoid growing too large or too small, and hence blocking the center of the screen, or overlapping too much of your weapon and the action in front of you. And at default, the field of view for these elements moves as your auto aim and accuracy changes. But the high field of view, they typically can shrink enough to show the current angles, resulting in them being fairly static. So they're rebuilding the reticles for the following weapon types so that they move more visibly at higher FOV, while still conveying the current state of the weapon accurately. So fusion rifles, hand cannons, sidearms, and trace rifles. And they plan to update other weapon reticles in a similar way in future releases. They've already kind of messed with the shotgun reticles so that they also now scale with the field of view, such as the reticle will closely match the pellet spread regardless of your selection of field of view. And this is when they kind of changed that in Lightfall, wasn't it? So we now have kind of diamonds or squares or circles conveying
Hexagons. Yep.
Yeah.
Spread. So
Good change.
I like that. Yeah.
we're getting charge meters, so fusion rifles and swords.
We've updated their hipfire reticles to include this information as well. Fusion rifles now have a charge meter under the reticle. Sword reticles now show the current sword guard energy. Fusion rifles, that's fine. I've always went on audio or like the charge like on the gun if I'm like don't have my headphones on or something like that. Sword reticles, this is a great change because I often try to guard and I just get wiped out because I'm like, oh, I don't have any sword energy.
I'm thinking the same thing. No, they already do that for glaives. Never mind. Yeah, as far as like the fusion rifles, didn't they always used to have an indicator on the weapon itself? I can think of all kinds of fusion rifles just off the top of my head that on the weapon itself, as you're charging, you see a little meter that goes up. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Don't they? I think that's they did say this, that they want to kind of build more into the fact that when you're ADSing or you're kind of you've got that on your screen, is that they want to try and put more information on the center of the screen, like with these, than they do down the side with like different buffs and things.
Well, because you only get
crowded
on the side of the screen for the buffs, dude. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to figure out, am I radiant? I don't know, because I got 4 buffs on the side, and radiant was the first thing that was there, and I have no idea. You know? I'm you know what? Just whoosh up. Turns out I wasn't radiant. Damn it! You know?
They have visual cues for radiant and other damage buffs, like if you're radiant, your bullets when they hit your opponents or the combatants rather, they kind of glow in a certain way. I've noticed, at least for kinetic weapons.
So color based cues. I love that. So on board with color based cues.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they're doing an experimental aim down sights reticle for the Shariah's Wrath. So it now has an aim down sights reticle that reacts to the weapon's accuracy and auto aim state and ties into the red reticle meaning this will change color when the enemy that's within the weapon's engagement range is under the reticle. So
Nice.
you'll have to kind of spec into maybe a blue reticle then, Respawn.
Yeah. Probably still lime green, honestly.
I use green too.
Yeah.
I think I do as
Yeah.
well.
There's nothing lime green in the game, so it's the only color that sticks out.
Mm-hmm. But did you know they also have custom exotic weapon reticules for other weapons? Plenty of exotic weapons have perks with states or counts that are important information to players. We've added reticle elements to show these to several exotic weapons and note that exotic swords and fusion rifles also benefit from the above change meter and sword meter elements. Note that some exotic weapons already convey their state very clearly and weren't included in this process. The specific additions to exotic weapons are charge meter added to exotic weapons whose base weapon type doesn't typically have a charge meter. This will be Devil's Ruin, Salvation's Grip, and Grand Overture. Salvation's Grip, man, I tell you what, that thing, whew, I love that gun.
You might do, yeah.
That's top shelf right there.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, even they're trying to say that this coming season they're going to give it an actual damaging grenade to it or whatever. But I'm just like, I mean, I functionally, I'm thinking you shoot it to create a bunch of crystals, and then you shoot the crystals with a grenade and do a bunch of damage. If that's the case, that might be really good, you know. But I'm holding my breath for that one.
It needs to do more damage than 2 legendary grenades do right now.
It should, absolutely.
Yeah, like the shatter damage, it just needs to do more. Because it's your exotic slot.
The way I look at it, it's an exotic slot, right? You're wasting a grenade to make these ice crystals, and you're potentially wasting a grenade to break the ice crystals unless you're shatter knifing or titan sliding, right?
Yep.
So, in my world, right, I want each one of these crystals to do grenade level damage. That's probably not going to happen. But if it did, oh, good lordy.
Yeah, we want a lot of shatter damage, too.
Absolutely. Perk counter shows pips for perked shots. Quicksilver Storm Grenade count. Ace of Spades Memento Mori shot count. Lumina Noble Rounds shot count. And Traveler's Chosen Gathering Light stacks.
So that's just basically moving it, isn't it, from like the left side of the screen to just
to the reticle. Yeah. Perk progress meter shows perk buildup on the Manticore. Yeah, that's one that everybody uses. Perk active shows when the exotic perk is active. Hawkmoon, nice. Aegir Scepter, very nice actually. Yes, okay. Teraba, very nice. Thank you for that. Touch of Malice. What's that? Oh, that's the exotic. The
King's Fall.
Yeah. Cryosthesia, that's good. Trinity Ghoul. I mean, the electrified arrows aren't enough of a clue. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
No, they're not. Well, it's the same with Terrorbar, isn't it? Like you see the charge up down the side of the Terrorbar. When you know that's charged, you double tap the button and you go.
I didn't know that. I don't know. I used that weapon for so long and could not figure out how you knew when the damn buff was ready. And someone's like, "Oh yeah, there's a meter on the gun itself that tells you." I'm like,
yeah. I don't look at the side of the screen to say when it's ready. I know when it's ready on the actual gun. So
yeah,
Terrabar's ready when you shoot someone and it vaporizes them. That's when you know Terrabar's working.
But don't you have to like activate the perk for it to do that?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is knowing when to activate that perk? Yeah.
Yes.
And you get a charge meter and a perk counter for the Vex Mythoclast. Why? Because Vex Mythoclast has 2 firing modes. You have the full auto and you have the linear. And it also tells you how many linear shots you have available. So that's why.
Do you know what gun's not on this list?
There's a lot of guns on this list. I can tell you.
Symmetry is not on this list. Symmetry has the revolution rounds, the dynamic charge. So you have to stack those up, and those are on the left side of your screen. And then you have to activate it with the alternate fire mode, and then you also have a timer. So this is kind of like one of those. Guns that there's a lot of in between. So maybe they just didn't know where to throw this one at.
But is
And we
it
have
one
a
that it says
video
that?
on
I mean,
conditional
they do say that
finality.
some of the weapons already very clearly state that weren't included in the past. So maybe it does state on the weapon.
I don't know. I'll have to do some
No,
testing
not at all.
later.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's in the bottom left. But conditional finality's got a video.
You know why conditional finality's got a video, don't you?
I do not. I was trying to read
Because
why.
you can now turn the weapons around in the viewing screen. So when you want to kind of preview a weapon,
What?
you can now spin it round. Well, not
Oh
now,
my
this second,
God!
next season.
This is great. Great
When can we
change.
do that with our ships?
I think they're doing that too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, right there, same video. Oh,
Look at that.
my God! This is officially the best game ever. I don't care.
It's going to be a lot easier getting a screenshot so I can put more guns in the hands of celebrities.
There you go.
Very nice.
With the release of Season of the Deep, we're also doing an overhaul to the way we showcase weapons and other items in the inspection screen. Okay, you know what? We just covered that. You can turn weapons, you can turn ships. Full auto melee. I can't wait for this change. Knowing how popular the full auto, now called full auto firing setting was, we've implemented a matching full auto melee setting that lets you continue melee attacking with your fist, charge melee, sword, glaive, or roaming super melee by holding down the appropriate input. This is explained in more detail here. People keep saying, that's completely useless. That's completely useless. No, it's not, dude. It's not.
I'm sure
Not at
you
all.
Tell you what.
that it was useless, but go on.
Huh?
I'm sure at one point you said it was useless, but
No. I was a huge advocate for this as soon as I saw it. Because like I'm thinking mainly glaive for this, right? My mindset is glaive on this. My melee is my scroll wheel on my mouse. It doesn't click down, it scrolls up or down for my melees, right? And when I'm sitting there constantly mailing somebody, I'm constantly scrolling on that freaking wheel, right? Which gets aggravating. So if I can just scroll it once and hold it, right, then that'd be so much better than having to constantly scroll the daggum thing. You know what I mean? So that is something I'm looking forward to. I might even put that on a button itself too, just because. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't think of any other reason beside a glaive why you would use it. Honestly, some people were saying, "Oh, well, like a Titan, like an Arc Titan, you can just hold it down and spam your fist or whatever." But I'm just like, would you want to though? Because like your stripper would be gone immediately, you know. Or maybe it's for like boss DPS. I can't think of anything outside of a glaive where this would be effective.
What do you call it? Arc Strider combination blow hunters.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yep, sure. Mini Hammer Titan. Okay, just hold it down and chuck hammers at the
No,
boss.
you don't. No, you don't want that.
No, you don't want.
No.
No, I'm reading chat.
Oh, whoever's doing that is going to throw it into the sun accidentally. 100% of the time.
Oh, he disagrees with you. He goes, "Are you for real?" We got one Titan disagreeing with two other Titans. Here we go. Throw down. Let's go.
Who is it? Who is it?
Winoble. G-Rex wants hammer recall. He wants Thor's hammer. Okay.
Yeah. No, we want an exotic that will do that. That would be really cool.
Wouldn't that be nice?
You know, for a long time, I've known that two Hammer Titans can throw hammers at each other to refill each other's melee, right? And I see them do it just while we're waiting on an activity or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other day when we were doing Ron hard mode, dude's like, "Oh man, I missed my hammer." He goes, "Here, take this," and he threw the hammer and he gave the ad clear back his hammer, and I was like, that is the only time I've ever seen that used in practical application.
That is amazing.
Titans being Titans.
Titans being Titans. Oh, goodness. Oh, kill the ogre? Yeah, there you go.
What I don't get is that then they've gone weapon archetypes after the full auto melee. It doesn't make any sense.
It came out of nowhere.
We're now talking about bows, but not bows in general, just one bow from the last Wish raid, which is Tyranny of Heaven. And apparently its stats were always weirdly low, and they're touching these weapons anyway, so opted to update the stats while we were there. Okay, so your Tyranny of Heaven bows, if you've got those, are going to be touched in a way that will make you want to play with them and enjoy them more.
I mean, it was one of the first solar bows ever, and it had pretty good perks on it, you know? I mean, we've got so many solar bows since then, though. I mean,
who's using that? Who's using that over Strident Whistle with Incandescent right now?
or even over freaking oh my god, the exotic one, man, that lights things on fire then detonates them. Freaking
Night Demon.
no, he's gonna let me suffer.
Tripwire?
No, the
It's
bow,
your favorite
dude.
bow.
Tiku's Divination.
TQ's divination. Thank you.
That's it. That's the one.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, if you're gonna use a solar bow, why would you use anything besides Tiku?
like Ken said, Strident Whistle is a good one.
Yeah,
Yes, but why would
maybe
you use it over Tiku? You know,
you
unless
maybe
you
you want
had
to have.
a different exotic, but whatever.
Yeah, you have to have Salvation's Grip in your exotic heavy slot.
So as I mentioned, submachine guns, the aggressive submachine guns have surged in PvP and they need to be brought back in line. So they're going to do it in a way that keeps them viable, but reducing both base and crit damage a little teeny weeny bit, requiring high precision to reach their optimal time to kill. And they're reducing the base damage from 15 to 14, increase the precision hit multiplier from 1.45 to 1.5. And the crit damage goes from 21.8 to 21. And the Immortal is such a monster that no other aggressive SMG can compete, so where they've brought its range in while allowing it to continue to excel in other areas. So they're reducing the base range value by 10. There you go.
Good.
But I'm just thinking of the damage to the multiplier from 1.45 to 1.5 and 21.8 to 21. That's like less than 1% for
Yeah,
each
but
of
you've
these
got to
changes.
spec into these things, haven't you? Kind of.
I mean,
Eh?
the range stat is the only thing that I think really affects it. Reducing its range by 10, big nerf. But
Yeah.
Not big nerf, but just a big change to
no,
how
that's
people are going to use
that's what
it.
we call a nerf. That is a
Okay.
change in the negative, sir. Okay, that is
I wouldn't
a nerf.
say it's big though.
No.
Reduce the range by 10? Yeah, it is. Range on a
Yeah, but
submachine gun is huge, man.
this is on just the Immortal, and if you're using the Immortal, you're likely using an Immortal Adept with target lock. So it's
Right.
kind of
Yeah,
going to keep
target
that
lock's still gonna do its
TTK.
thing. Yeah.
It's going to keep that TTK nice and consistent for you. Well, even if you do miss some crits.
I don't have one. I can't say anything, but I still think that's a big nerf.
Neither do I. I refuse. If I had one, I'd delete it. I don't like it.
I haven't got one. Yeah, I think Peroty was the only one that grinded it out to get one to see what it was like and see what everybody was going on about. And he
I
was
don't
like,
I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like the way it tastes.
I mean, I'm just not a fan of submachine guns in general. I never liked them. People use them inside PvP, but in PvE, they're kind of pointless. The only one I did like for a long time was the Huckleberry. That gun was a monster. I mean, it still is a monster, but
yeah.
like,
Mm-hmm.
like you just there's so many other better weapons for an exotic slot than that now. You know what I mean?
A
True.
good one for next season that I think Destiny Fun Police pointed out was the Out of Bounds, which was the PvP, like the one that Shax was just throwing at you a couple of seasons back. That have got kind of a really good one. So like definitely got rangefinder on there. I've got one that's got rangefinder, but tap the trigger, moving target, ricochet rounds. They've got high caliber rounds on them as well. So killing wind, harmony. There's some really good rolls on the Out of Bounds that you can kind of still get and still throw some tokens or throw your engrams at Shax in the tower and see what you can get. It's a 900 RPM arc one, but it might be worth looking at if they ruin your Immortal. You could just go and have a look at that.
A fun fact from the chat: the Huckleberry is the only gun with the original Rampage. Yeah,
It's true.
Which-
It's true.
I like
which
that.
I don't know if
Fun
that's a
fact
good
from the
thing
chat.
because Rampage now is Rampage spec. So the Rampage now is technically better than the original? Question mark. So is that a nerf in the Huckleberry's favor? I don't know. It doesn't sound like a good thing,
Question for the devs.
right?
Sniper rifles.
Snipers, yes.
So apparently they're still a very safe option, and they don't want to make them dominant. So they're going to give them some room to bring the damage up to improve their feel in PvE. Note that rapid fire sniper rifles also got a large reserve bump and recoil reduction in Season 20 mid-season balance patch. And they're going to keep an eye on these, so don't you be using them too much, because otherwise they'll decrease them. But they're going to increase the PvE damage by 10%, and Izignami Burden Honed Edge Perk Shot doesn't receive the buff. So that's the one where you combine all four into that one shot.
Yep.
all other exotic sniper rifles receive the buff as written. So
Nice.
that's even your heavy ones that you've got, like the Darcy and the Whisper of the World.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what was that first one again?
Darcy does technically more damage than the Whisper. All right.
You're telling me that the Hive God sniper rifle does less damage than the actual tape measure?
Because the ammo. That's why. It has physically more bullets to shoot, ergo doing more overall damage.
I mean,
It's
it's
not
in
by
the
much,
game.
but
I
it's
think you're right.
technically more.
It's in the game as a tape measure, and it does make me laugh when everybody whips it out just to see, like, as everybody whips it out just to see the distance from where they're standing.
Yeah.
It's just like, there we go. Got to get your
You don't
darts
need
out.
to do bounties. There's not going to be any level cap raised, dude. There's your level cap is not
Don't
raising.
tell people that they don't need
to
to do. You still need to do bounties if you want to kind of max out your artifact really quickly.
Yeah. Get that.
You know,
get those
save,
artifacts.
save some bounties up this week if you're kind of
no.
just doing them and you don't worry.
Don't do it. It's a trap. Nitedemon doesn't love you. Now, as far as these changes go, for the sniper rifle, I'm really hoping that's going to put Succession in a place where it can do boss DPS, right? Because, it comes with firing line and reconstruction, and with the magazine extending perk on it, right? You can get 8 rounds in your magazine on a legendary high-impact sniper rifle that, as you fire, is reloading as you go, right? So, I mean, I really hope that these sniper rifle changes really do increase the damage by a bunch, because there are so many good sniper rifles in the game that I'd love to use for boss DPS. You know what I mean? I'm so tired of rocket launchers being the meta for everything. You have no idea, and it's mainly because I'm in the Frozen clan, right? Every single time I go into an account, they're like, "Yep, we're gonna use rockets." I'm like, "God damn it!" Like, why? I'm like, "What? Don't you have the you don't have Gallahorn?" I'm like, "No, I have Gallahorn. I have the meta. I hate explosives, man."
I think the thing is, though, it became so repetitive, didn't it, in Destiny 1, when it was like, have to have your rocket launcher, have to have your sniper rifle, and have to have your primary weapon to kind of generate whatever ammo you needed. And
Right.
it was like, I think Bungie got tired of that requirement that you needed to use the sniper rifle, and then once you run out of your sniper rifle, you need to change to rockets or whatever it was for, like with Crota and things. It's like, well, that's why we've moved away from having like sniper rifles in PvE. It's no longer a requirement for like those bosses.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and Bungie keeps making it so that nothing on DPS is the stupid rockets, right? I mean, they made Gallahorn give all these legendary rockets Wolfpack rounds, and now that's all anybody ever wants to use. And nothing, well, technically, the bow with the FPS glitch, if you have a whole team doing it, one shots Ron on hard mode, right? Not one shots, but one phases them on hard mode. But aside from outliers like that, right, that you have to actually kind of glitch into the game, there's nothing that does more damage than rockets. And I'm so tired of rockets being the meta for like 3 freaking seasons. Let's go back to grenade launchers. That was fun, at least. A grenade launcher is fun to use. A rocket launcher is not.
Anasario with grenade launchers, that was good fun. I like that.
Yeah. And then, God forbid, we go back to snipers being a meta. You know what I'm saying? Just can we stop using explosives? Let's bring up something: sniper rifle, heavy machine gun. Just anything that does more freaking damage than an explosive.
I can guarantee you, Respawn. I can guarantee you, the next raid, not this season, season 22, the next raid, swords are going to be the go-to.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. I'm very okay with swords being meta.
Bosses, don't you? I can't remember his name, but he's got like
Wrath of the Machine.
Mechanical legs.
Huh?
Yeah.
You guys think it's gonna be Wrath, really?
Well, we're hoping beyond hope.
It's gonna be Wrath.
I'm wishing on a star.
It's gonna be Crota.
No way. They don't do that. It's gonna be Wrath. And if they did,
he's probably right. It's going to be the one we don't want. Everybody wanted the King's Fall. I really didn't want King's Fall. The exotic was okay back then. It's even less than okay now. I didn't want that raid. But Wrath of the Machine, they're all like, well, we already have we already have the pulse rifle that you get from that raid, the exotic. Well, do
but
something
I
to
think that's
increase
why
it.
we know it's coming, because they mentioned that, didn't they? They said that, you know, some of the reprise raids and stuff that they're working on, they know that they've already brought back exotic weapons, so there's going to be something else that they're going to be putting in there.
Yeah, they can always make something new or bring something else out.
Well, that is the hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know. But yeah,
Well,
just something, guys, something else besides
what
explosive.
auto rifle dropped during Rise of Iron that was particularly popular?
Rise of Iron.
He's
Wow,
throwing
that
out
was
these
a
questions
minute ago.
Yeah,
like
a certain arc auto rifle.
oh, don't get
Zalo,
Mm-hmm.
gonna get excited.
bro.
Yeah,
I've
if
been
they're
preaching
gonna,
Zalo Supercell for 9 years. All right,
I have a feeling
come at me.
that will be the raid exotic if they do bring back Wrath.
That would be amazing.
They could
And
throw out the cost off. An
well,
exotic.
no, we already had the Kabostov exotic, and it wasn't great.
That's true. Was not great.
No,
And we
beyond.
we have a pulse rifle that's kind of the same. You can kind of
Oh.
swap the pieces out in Revision 0.
Jesus.
So Kabostov
Yeah.
is kind of a what do you call those things?
Throwaway.
Old news. Old
Yeah.
news.
I agree. No, Zalo Supercell. Oh man, I could get aroused over some Zalo Supercell. I'll tell you what.
What happens if it's Icebreaker?
Icebreaker would be good too. Again, leaning back into the whole, I want something besides explosives to be the
Dragon's
meta.
Breath. More rockets.
I wouldn't mind. Well, no, Dragon's Breath, because like I said, the only thing that made Dragon's Breath good was the Taikonaut. You know, and if they bring back the Taikonaut along with the Dragon's Breath, Titans would absolutely be meta in PvE. 100%
Now,
you know,
do we get to the point of like when season 22 we get the reprise raid of Wrath of the Machine, then we go into the final shape, and they'll do dungeon, and then maybe they'll do Crota as the last reprised raid for season whatever it is, 27.
I don't want that to come back at all, ever. No.
Do you think
No.
as we get towards the end of this life cycle of Destiny 2, do you think they're just going to throw everything at us, like go like what they did with Destiny 1, go, here's everything, you know, here's all the exotics you can now collect from Destiny 1 in Destiny 2, because we know that that's going to be cycled out, and we're going to do like Destiny the next step, and all of this isn't going to matter, and we're going to turn off the servers for Destiny 1, but Destiny 2 will continue, and then we'll move on to Destiny whatever else it is? Or do you think they'll just continue down the Destiny 2 route?
What was the name of that? It was a D1 heavy machine gun. It had 4 barrels on it. Kind of looked like a shark, right? And the longer you held down the trigger, the faster this gun fired by default. It had
so that
one of Thunderlord's brothers.
no. It wasn't one of the. It was no. It wasn't
that again.
one of
What
the
was it
Lord's
you were
brothers.
talking about?
It was a heavy machine gun in
Right.
D1. Okay, it had 4 barrels on the front of it. Right. I mean, it had 4 holes.
I know what
you could see that were barrels. They didn't spin or anything like that, but you could see 4 holes that you knew bullets came out of. And the longer you held this gun down, the faster it fired by default.
Nemesis Star?
Thank you, Nemesis Star. That one would be a great gun to bring back if they just left the damage the same, because Bungie has a stupid habit of when the rate of fire increases, they bring down the damage of the bullets. No, leave the damage the same and just allow the gun to increase its rate of fire while keeping the damage. That would be an amazing gun to bring back too. You know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the last thing on their like weapons archetypes that they're changing, scout rifles. So the long arm, because they copied and pasted it from the Dead Man's Tale, it inadvertently receives the same damage buff versus minus for exotics. So they've addressed it. It's still going to receive the scout rifle PvE damage buff from season 20 mid-season balance patch, but that's it. So it's no longer an exotic legendary.
Oh,
well, no,
that wasn't hurting anything.
Well, it hurt somebody's eyes, and they went, "No, we're not having that anymore."
Mm-hmm. Speaking of eyes,
yes,
Eyes
What
of
a
Tomorrow's
segue.
multi-targeted missile volley and adaptive ordnance exotic trait suggests it should be used to kill groups of enemies. But the rocket launcher ammo economy doesn't really allow for that. But what if No, that's right. What if smart? Okay. I was like, did I have a stroke? But what if smart use of one of the weapon against groups refunded ammo? Killing 4 targets with a missile volley will refund 1 ammo.
How good is this going to be in PvE?
Where do you get that ammo from? Does it kind of just refund it from like magic, or is it?
I think it's magic. I think it's a magic bullet because they're talking about ammo economy, right? So if it just refunded back from your ammo, it wouldn't be changing the ammo economy. So it's got to be giving it to you.
Yeah,
it's got to be giving you.
Otherwise, they would say it would reload from reserves, wouldn't they?
That's true.
Yeah. But again, I mean, this would be great for ad clear, but we have a ton of ad clear options. Hell, a submachine gun with Scorch on it can clear ads, dude. You know, we don't really need Eyes of Tomorrow to do that. No, don't get me wrong. I'd love to use that gun just because it's an amazing, aesthetically pleasing rocket launcher, right? But I mean, you know, just
will this work?
Oh, actually, hold on. GM, thank you. I was just gonna say that GMs, right? You could use this on GM's ads that are stronger than normal, but can still be taken out with a rocket launcher. And then you can just continue to use this heavy freaking weapon to kill all these ads in GMs, dude.
That's true. Yeah, the elite enemies, the red bars with a little bit extra health. Yeah,
but this is going down the same route of like the the sniper rifle, isn't it, from Destiny 1, the icebreaker, where it's just kind of pulling from magic. So you imagine you kill the 4 targets and you get a refund 1 ammo. You then fire again and you get another 4 kills and you get another ammo. You could just potentially just keep doing this until the ads have all gone with just magic ammo.
Exactly. Now, is this magic bullet going to go into your reserves and you have to reload it, or is it just going to put it back in your magazine?
I think you're going to have to manually reload it.
I'm thinking so too, but what if? Right?
Yeah. We love the what ifs. Yeah. What if?
Graviton Lance's performance feels exotic. Probably because it is. But it was easy to miss out on the full damage of a burst because so much of it was backloaded. And we felt the tuning of Revision Zero's heavy rounds to burst would be a good fit. Increase the RPM from 257 to 300. Oh, so it fires faster. And reduce the burst delay by 20%. It now matches Revision Zero's Hake heavy rounds rate of fire. Nice! Okay. Yeah. I can dig it. I just hate the noise it makes, the clunk, 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 clunk. I hate that sound.
It's very, very annoying.
They also rebalance the damage per shot. Here we go. So the first shot damage goes from 9.5 to 19.
Okay.
And the crit goes from 15.7 to 31.4. That is a massive damage buff. What? That's wow. That's
but wait, there's more.
There is more.
It also decreased the second shot damage from from body 35.6 to 25.6, and the crit goes from 58.7 to 42.3.
All they've done is change the fire rate, and they've changed the damage that would be on the second burst to the first burst.
Yeah.
They've taken
I see that now. The overall damage is the same. They just front loaded the damage. Oh my god. Come on.
No, but the thing is, I mean, you were around at the beginning of Destiny 2 when we had Graviton Lance, and it was the go-to exotic for PvP. It was amazing. And they went, we're just going to hammer this into the ground, and you guys are never going to use this again. And I think now they feel a bit guilty, and they're like, maybe we should bring it up slightly.
Remember when it was a 3-burst?
Nah. No, I don't remember that. What?
It used to be a 3-burst.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure there was I think it was during Forsaken or maybe Warmind DLC that they changed it from a 3-burst to a 2-burst. I could be completely wrong.
I think it was in one of those things of they kept passing over. And they knocked it down so much. It was like, yeah.
Hold on.
It is just a meme weapon at this point. I have tried to use it in the past couple of months, like taking it into Iron Banner and just seeing how because they did tweak it recently before this, but I wasn't feeling it. It was like maybe I'll try it again and see
Nope,
how.
I think it was always a 2-round burst. Because there's
Really?
a lot of people in Reddit talking about what if it was a 3-round, which again, just the what if it was a 3-round indicates that it was never a 3-round. And yeah, even all these is it a 3-round? Is it a 3-round? The answers to all these are no.
Maybe that's what it made so special when it first launched.
The damage of a 3-round burst into 2 rounds, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, sorry, Jade Rabbit is what?
Oh no, we were talking about how you need to turn the volume down when you use Graviton Lance.
Oh,
You have to mute. If you're going to use it, you have to mute your mic.
it doesn't even sound like a round, though. You know what I mean? Like I've been around lots of guns, and I've heard so many different noises they make, but a clunk is. I mean, it sounds like you're dropping a heavy barrel in the bottom of a well. You know?
It sounds like you're shooting a parakeet out of the gun instead.
I can't even describe the sound. It's such a unique, awful sound. I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just, I don't like it.
It chirps like an alien bird.
Yeah.
Jade Rabbit is a strong PvP scout rifle.
It is.
But it was difficult to keep track of the state of the exotic perk, and refunding a single ammo just wasn't impressive enough for an exotic. These changes made the state clearer and provide more reward for precision. Added buff text to show when Fate of All Fools increased body shot damage is active, and quickly hitting 3 crits now refunds 3 shots instead of 1.
I've got a quick question though. Where are we adding this text? Are we adding it to the side that we're now taking stuff away from, or are we adding it to the weapon?
Right over your reticle.
Just a question, Bungie. You know, we're taking stuff away from the side of the screen. Where are we putting this? Back on the side of the screen?
I mean, it's basically a kinetic Polaris Lance at this point, right?
Yeah, I don't see how this is like exciting because you have no time to explain, and you have no time to explain, and you have Polaris Lance that both refund ammo on precision hits. This is just
both. Is no time to explain kinetic?
Yeah, it's kinetic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a scout rifle instead of a pulse rifle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's bringing Jade Rabbit up to the likes of Polaris Lance and no time to like refund the amount of ammo that the amount of ammo that you shoot, you should be getting back if you're, hitting your shots.
Yeah. I like this change because, whenever you have to use a scout rifle for champions or whatnot, it's nice to have a scout rifle that you don't have to reload because apparently reloading breaks people's immersion.
But when is Jade Rabbit the play in PvE?
The only time where you need I don't know, anti-barrier maybe, I don't know.
Shouldn't you just use Polaris Lance?
Well, that is a scout rifle too. But what if you need something else in the energy slot?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it just gives you build crafting. You can use different things in different slots.
The thing is, if you're using like a scout rifle, you use something like the what's the one we've had this season? The Hungura.
Hunguri, yeah.
Hunguri. The Hunguri. You use the Hunguri, don't you? And now with the kinetic tremors, you'll use that. Or like you said, you use a track post for next season.
Yeah, but you still have to reload it.
Yeah, but sometimes I've got a track post that has got hatchlings with 4 times the charm. What's the difference between 4 times the charm and the Fate of All Fools perk?
I don't know if I'd ever want hatchlings on a scout rifle.
Why not?
I don't feel like you're killing things fast enough to do the hatchlings. For me, hatchlings on a rocket launcher makes sense. Grenade launcher makes sense. Heavy machine gun makes sense because you're probably killing a lot of things really fast, right? But on a scout rifle,
But the thing here, it's precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with non-precision weapons spawn threadlings.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's good for low-level content, regular strikes, heroic nightfalls.
Yeah, I don't live there.
Seasonal battleground stuff.
You never know. It might be the go-to thing to have for next season's Grandmasters.
And if it is, I'll be the first one to apologize to you.
Okay, I'll wait for that apology to come in the post.
We're not going to hold our breath, though.
No, we're not.
Now,
Yes.
flying around with Manticore is some silly fun.
It is.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think it's fun. You know?
I don't either.
Because I'll be trying to jump off a ledge and now I'm floating. I'm like, would you please stop? Now I'm a target in midair and I'm trying to get behind cover.
Don't you only float if you're aiming down sights? Or you're
I don't
shooting?
know.
I think
you have to be aiming down sights and be doing damage for you to actually stay floating.
Really? Okay. Well,
I think.
I did enjoy it when it first came out. It was one of the ones that I used in the battlegrounds quite a lot. It was good fun flying around.
I faced someone in the Crucible using it, and they did not once use it from the air.
Really?
And it did fine. It did fine. But at that point, you might as well just use a funnel web.
Similar pokes to a funnel web. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's got good stats all around, but like, I don't like flying whenever I don't want to be flying.
Yeah, just use funnel web.
Yeah. So anyway, some people seem to think it's silly fun, not me, but we wanted it to be more rewarding, mobile, and sustainable. With this change, you should be able to remain airborne for longer, oh dear lord, and be safer while doing so. Increase the catalyst damage resistance from tier 3 to tier 4, not bad. Increase the movement speed during hang time, and activating the catalyst perk through an airborne kill or sustained damage following an airborne kill now partially refills the magazine. The magazine of what, 27?
The magazine is 38.
Is it? Oh, excuse me.
Okay.
It's a 900 RPM with 38 in the magazine.
Damage resistance from tier 3 to tier 4. I'm not exactly sure how much damage resistance that is. If it's as much as like Omnioculus was at its like height, then I could see this getting some play.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo what Peroty said last week. You know, if you're telling us about tiers, you need to give us more information on the tiers.
Numbers. We need numbers.
Numbers. But that's what the YouTubers are there for, isn't it? They're giving them something to do. They're paying them to do this. Oh no, we're paying them to do this.
I'm like, who's paying?
They'll get asked across to do it. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know why, man. Like I used to hate his voice, and now he's one of my favorite YouTubers. I have no idea how that happened. So, Luminous Cap on Noble. Who uses this gun? Unironically,
Warlocks.
Nurses.
I mean,
Warlocks.
he's actually warlocks do make sense. I'm sorry, I take it back. So Luminous Cap on Noble Rounds was 5. While working on exotic weapon reticules, we opted to match Ace of Spades Memento Mori shot count to improve consistency between the two and give Lumina a little buff at the same time. Okay, so Lumina users, there you go.
You got 5 to 6.
Yeah, I mean it's groundbreaking. It's amazing. Even people that don't use Lumina are going to start using it now. It's woo-hoo-hoo.
No, but the thing is, I think if you pair it with it's the boots, isn't it? Is it the boots of the Assembler?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it is.
Boots of the Assembler with the Warlocks. It gives you the extra healing, doesn't it?
It gives you the noble rounds. I think it gives you, when it procs, I think it gives you 2 noble rounds so you can use them.
Standing in a healing rift creates noble seekers that seek out allies that are not in the rift and heal them. Standing in the empowered rift creates noble seekers that grant both you and your ally a damage bonus. Each time a noble seeker finds one of your allies, the duration of a rift is briefly extended while you are standing in it, providing a moderate benefit to the airborne effectiveness of stats of hand cannons Lumina. So
somebody in the chat is pointing out that it's the only damage buff in the game that's 35%. But don't you have to shoot every member of your fire team, including yourself, to get that bonus?
No, because if you use it with the boots of the Assembler, and I think it's healing rift creates noble seekers that heal them, but if you stay in the empowering rift, it creates noble seekers that grant you the damage bonus. So if you put on the damage bonus, you keep getting these noble rounds, and then you can kill people with the Lumina, and then get more noble rounds. And now it's giving you from 5 to 6. So as long as you can kind of kill somebody, or even if somebody that you've given that noble round to kills somebody, you get more orbs spawning and your rift stays up longer. you can be a good healer for your team.
Right, but I'm not talking about healing. I'm talking about the damage buff.
Yes, if you there's two different wells for a warlock. So you have the healing and the empowering one. If you put the empowering one on, it gives you the noble seekers to then shoot out without you having to kill anybody to start off with. But if somebody that you shoot with that buff kills somebody, you get more seekers.
Right, but you would still have to shoot each. Hold on.
I don't know if you're going to have to shoot every member of your fire team. All I know is that when the noble rounds are in Lumina, you just hip fire it in their general direction, and it flies to them like a child of the old gods. They gain the buff, whether it's healing, if it's a healing rift, and if it's empowering rift, they get the damage bonus. And I think that's it. I don't know if your if your teammates, if they get a kill while they're empowered, you get more noble rounds. That'd be awesome if it did do that. I never used them before, so.
I mean, I get that, but I'm just like, yeah, but for each person, you'd have to shoot them for them to get that. That's my hang up, right? You'd have to shoot each individual person for them to get that damage buff. Like, I think it'd be much more useful. Like, somebody's saying it could replace a well. I'm like, well, if it's going to replace the well, then one bullet should do like an AoE effect, right? When that bullet pops, popping being the keyword there, gets everybody in a small radius, and everybody gets that damage buff.
The community insight for this is basically if you stand in the rift, it creates the noble seekers every 5 seconds, and then they will seek out the allies within 35 meters and apply the buff. So if each time a noble seeker applies a buff, the rift duration is extended by 5 seconds. So if you're staying in the rift and you're constantly sending out the noble rounds, you're constantly getting more of the noble seekers while you're just standing there every 5 seconds. As long as it actually seeks out an ally and hits them, you could just stay in that rift long term and just send out those buffs.
So the rift is sending out its own little buff to your teammates while you're shooting your teammates with your Lumina to give them buffs, and so you got all these buffs flying around for your team.
Yeah, okay. I have used it a couple of times, and it is crazy if you can get the right position to help support your team. It's a really good one.
Okay.
Where it shines is in like 3v3 modes, like Trials and Calm, where you basically set up with your Lumina Warlock, and you basically dig into a spot, and it's really hard to get you out of there. And if your opponents don't get you out of there fast enough, you've built up this like you've accumulated all these different damage bonuses with having all the noble rounds, and it makes it very, very easy for you to just roll over your opponents at that point.
And if you think now with Strand, I haven't used it with Strand, and you then build into like the Seekers and the Threadlings and everything else. That's going to be crazy.
You'd have to break down how to do that, but not now. Apparently, Wind Noble says boots got nerfed specifically because of Trials, so there's that.
Yeah.
Now, a sword that I really looked forward to having, and then I got it, and I'm like, man, I thought this was going to be phenomenal for Invis Hunters, and it was not. I am talking about the Heart Shadow. The Heart Shadow wasn't quite hitting the fantasy we wanted it to, so we've made it easier to exploit the exotic perks. Damage increase now activates quicker while invisible after 1/4 of a second instead of 1 second, so that might make it better. Okay. And Heart Shadow now weakens upon dealing any damage while the damage increase is active. Okay, cool. So I don't have to hit them with the silly little orbs in order to get the damage. I like that. So these changes might give it the usability that I was hoping it would have initially for Invis type hunters. So we'll see. Have high hopes, but we'll see. We love Worldline Zero's performance. Do we though? I mean, it's kind of a cool gun, but do we really?
Gun.
And with all the attention we've been giving swords, we wanted to spend some time really differentiating it from a certain perk on glowing sword dares. The sprinting heavy attack can now be chained into itself once. Sword guard energy cost from each sprinting heavy attack is reduced from 100% to 50%, and increased damage from an individual sprinting heavy attack by 8.3%. So, a little DPS upgrade there. And for all of you psychotic Actium war rig wearing,
You can just say his name.
Sweet
You can say his
business,
name.
freaking wielding,
Peroty.
freaking.
Just Peroty.
No, he's not just Peroty. I know others too. Peroty is the most prevalent, but he's not the only one.
It's just
For
Peroty.
you guys out there that think that just because you think you're an AC 130 means you are, there is a buff coming your way. Sweet Business is not only a wall of bullets. Sweet Business is now a wall of explosive bullets. What do I mean by that?
Not fully explosive bullets. They still need the little person to put one in every 20 shots.
Little person.
You have a little person on your back filling it up, don't you?
Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that. Sweet Business, yeah, see, T-Rex is one of those degenerates. Sweet Business's performance is a lot of fun, but we felt we could really plus its fun factor up and strength by adding some explosions. I feel like we're in Borderlands now. This is absolutely a Borderlands gun. Now it fires explosive rounds every 20 shots, even fewer if it's fully spun up. So, yeah. I think this might actually be a very viable DPS weapon outside of PvP, right? Just like you got a yellow bar, you got a boss, whatever. You run out of heavy, this might be a very good backup for DPS, I'm thinking.
It's great. I used to use it in PvE this season, actually, in Defiant Battlegrounds. It does great. With Actium War Rig, you just never have to really let go of the trigger, and then you walk over green brick, automatically reloads all the way to full. So you're going to be able to stay spun up. And now with all these explosive rounds, you're going to be doing a little bit of AoE damage, and PvP, you're going to be flinching like crazy.
True.
Now,
Yeah.
is it going to be a Firefly explosion or is it going to be a Dragonfly explosion?
No, it's just
it might not be
explosive rounds.
any. It might just be a grenade explosion.
Oh, yeah, I
Who
suppose
knows?
explosive rounds are different.
It's going to deal body shot damage. So like the same explosive rounds you'd find on like any hand cannon or scout rifle or something like that.
Now, excuse me. Legend of Acreus, everybody's favorite shotgun that we all absolutely use for every boss DPS phase, hits extremely hard, dealing some of the highest damage per shot in the game. But its ammo reserves run out fairly quickly, and by fairly quickly we mean, immediately. And this is if you don't take 9 years to reload the daggum thing, right? And you have to be right on top of enemies to use it. We've relaxed both of these constraints. We have now increased the total ammo from 12 to 16, and we've increased the maximum projectile distance from 9 meters to 12 meters. Cool. Can you do something about the reload speed? Asking for a friend.
This is like a hunter's shotgun. So you just dodge to reload, right? Like I would never use this on a warlock or a titan.
Like Lumina boots, Lumina.
Back in the day when the barricades did the reload, you could easily use it on a Titan.
What's the warlock boots? The ones that reload faster?
Transversive?
No.
Lunafaction?
Lunafaction, thank you. Lunafaction boots, maybe, right? In a well.
Maybe.
Anyway, so Tommy's matchbook, when I was forced to play Titan, this was my go-to gun. Once I figured out that Titans were unkillable while standing in a sunspot, boom, Tommy's matchbook. It's all about burning yourself. We've updated it to let you burn others as well. Catalyst updated. While overheated, sustained fire scorches your target. Every 5 shots applies 14 plus 7 with the Embers of Ashes fragment scorch stacks. So 25 shots on a target. I don't know who's going to still be alive after 25 shots, but
that's going to be a fun
detonate.
That's definitely going to be a fun one to use with your Loreley Splendor, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Loreley Splendor doesn't give you as much healing as it did before.
No, but it gives you.
I wonder if the Tommy's matchbook can actually kill you.
No, it never kills you. It never kills you. It'll take you down to red bar health, but it will never kill you. Even now, you can just use it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
What do you mean? Like you won't? It won't do it because you run out of ammo, or
no, it just won't do it.
It won't do it. It'll take you down to 1 health, but it'll never kill you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a bit like Touch of Malice, but Touch of Malice, as I remember in Destiny 1, did kill you.
In Destiny 2, it kills you too.
Oh, there you go.
In PvP, if someone looks your direction, you're dead, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is not a PvP gun.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
is.
although
it
I
is.
do see some people using it in there unironically, but they're psychopaths. So
I know we were just talking about sweet business, but going back, and I know we just glossed over it, the explosive payloads, but the explosive payload, it says it splits the damage, like 50% of the damage, into the explosive damage portion that has no damage fall off, and deals 30% increased damage in PvE, and 15% body shot damage is increased in PvE, and the total damage remains the same in PvP. So, sweet business with explosive payloads.
It's going to be a monster. Yeah,
It is.
It's going to be good, but
it's going to be a monster.
getting those really long range shots are not easy.
No, but
I'm sorry. This is the sweet business. You don't need to get long range shots. You just aim in the general direction.
Yeah, once it's spun up and you're getting.
Sometimes you got to get your man. You know what I mean? You got to chase somebody.
I'm definitely
get your man. You get the man to the left. Get the man to the right. Get the man behind him. Get the man behind that guy. You know, you're fine. No Time to Explain's drone would not work against barrier champion shields, but it had anti-barrier effect. We fixed it.
Oh, good.
We also made the drone work with the Feeding Frenzy perk. Updated drone to work with anti-barrier will break barrier champion shields and over-penetrate combatant shields, as well as updating the drone to work with Feeding Frenzy from the NTTE catalyst. This also NTTE beating No Time to Explain. This also resolved an issue where the feedback for Feeding Frenzy would always play when the player spawned and then never again. Weird bug. Just shoot freedom seeds everywhere. I love it. That's the only thing I can agree with you, T-Rex. Skyburner's Oath. Cool. Solar 3.0 patch turned out to be too conservative, so we brought it up to be more competitive with other scorching options. Nice. I love how just one shot gives scorch stacks for the Skyburner. You know what I mean? Other guns you have to like kind of build that up or whatever, but the first shot from a Skyburner will scorch a target, and I think that's really cool because for a lot of hunter builds, you have to hit a scorch target for it to refund a knife or a dodge or whatever, right? So considering how you just shoot them with one bullet and they're scorched, that's kind of a big deal for a lot of builds.
Doesn't the weighted throwing knife automatically ignite scorched targets?
Sure does.
So just one shot from Skyburners and then headshot with the knife ignition. It's interesting.
I totally didn't use that in the first Grandmaster this season. Whenever it was, the Cabal, I definitely did not use that strat at all.
We believe you.
No.
Yeah.
Here we go. Skyburners increased scorch stacks from 3 to 5, and from 5 to 10 with the Embers of Ashes fragment. Cool. Salvation's grip performance and utility is entertaining and sustain. Little stroke. Excuse me. Salvation's grip's performance. God damn it! I'm taking out the Nitedemon now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Salvation's grip's performance and utility is entertaining and situationally useful, but as a heavy weapon, yes, a heavy weapon, it's broke, buddy. You broke it. Can't fix it. He broke a ramp in half. Okay, as a heavy weapon, it really needs to do some damage without compromising on its identity. Yes, some damage. Any damage.
Sorry, any what?
Nice.
Any identity too.
Any damage, any whatever. Just without compromising on its identity. We built its functionality using bowling as an inspiration. Just a heavy weapon that did no damage. I thought Bungie was insane. I still do, but for different reasons. We have now reworked it into 2 firing modes. A charged shot that creates a pattern of stasis crystals where the number of crystals is no longer dependent on the charge time. And an uncharged shot that is a normal grenade launcher shot. which does more damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Cool. So it also does more damage to the targets themselves if they're frozen. Now, you would hold it down for like maybe a half a second to fire the crystal and then tap it to fire the grenade. That's gonna be a weird play style, but whatever. If it does enough damage, I'll learn how to do that play style. They also added a new perk that reloads the magazine from reserves when you quickly shatter at least 3 crystals with the uncharged shot. Now, hold on, wait a second. So hold on. So charged shot creates a pattern of stasis crystals. So is this going to be like an octagon? Like with the
I think so.
Yeah, it kind of does that now, doesn't it?
Because before it shot like the one large crystal, didn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Like currently, right now, if you shoot it, you get one big crystal, I think. Right?
You can hide inside of it. If you crouch and if you shoot it at your feet, you can hide inside of it.
Well, you could also use it to glitch through doors to get out of map stuff, but
yeah.
Anyway, okay. So if it makes multiple crystals with its shot, and then you just pop the ones that you made, I mean, there you go. You reloaded your ammo for reserves. Cool. Bad Juju. Here we go. We got a Bad Juju update. It's always been hard to control. It turns out it's because originally set up to use auto rifle recoil. Yay! But being that it's a pulse rifle, probably not the best way to do that. So what they've done is they've fixed it so that it uses pulse rifle recoil instead of auto rifle recoil. The recoil pattern should now be similar to other pulse rifles, meaning probably more vertical, less all over the place. Fighting Lion. This gun was a monster this season, and I loved it. For those of you that don't know, and you're about to miss out, the Fighting Lion does like 80 times the damage it's supposed to, and I don't actually think I'm exaggerating, right? So for red bars and one particular boss, it would do hundreds of thousands of damage with the one shot.
Who's the boss?
It is at the end of the new strike. It's the big Hydra.
Oh, for the hypercurrent. Okay.
Yes, because the Hydra is classified as a vehicle, and the Fighting Lion does extra damage to vehicles and red bar enemies. So, it was doing ridiculous damage. But now they fixed it, or they will be fixing it come Tuesday. No, it says it's currently fixed. My bad. So, fix an issue that was causing this weapon to do more damage than intended to red bar combatants and one particular Nightfall boss. Thunderlord has surged in popularity with the release of its catalyst and the Season 20 machine gun buff. But it shipped with a bug that allowed lightning strikes at a higher frequency than intended against Divinity Bubbles. No! They're nerfing it! We've addressed that. Note that regular crits are not affected by the change. You biscuits!
I didn't hear anything about this until now.
Yeah, I didn't either. Fixed an issue resulting in hits against Divinity Bubble counting as 2 crits instead of 1. So less lightning hits, less crit hits, meaning less Ron damage, meaning this is no longer viable in Ron. Son of a biscuit.
I mean, you're only missing out on. I mean, how many crits
half
is
your
that?
damage? Half your damage.
Is it really half? Is it really half?
Yeah,
I thought it was only the lightning strikes.
No, it's also crit hits. They counted as 2 crit hits. So
specifically with Divinity Bubble. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, fixed an issue resulting yada. Winter Bite's initial version included an exploitable damage bug, which is fixed here. You said that last season. I'm holding my breath on this one. The impact damage has been removed and redistributed to the detonation damage. The self-damage scaling has been tuned to account for the increased damage of the detonation. Okay, we'll see. And now for perks. Nitedemon, I think, can take over from here.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Fragile Focus is fairly potent, but the perk deactivator was very unforgiving. Bonus lasts until shield pop returns when shield regenerates 200%. Okay, so what does Fragile Focus do right now? That's the one where you land precision hits to do increased
You
precision
do more damage
right?
until you get hit. No, you do extra damage until you get hit.
Once
you get hit, the buff goes away.
That's right. Okay. All right. Thresh, Demolitionist, and Pugilist have always granted increased energy on shotgun, fusion rifle, and sniper rifle kills, but Glaive's missed out on the bonus until now. Grants increased energy to Glaive projectile kills, same as shotguns, fusion rifles, and sniper rifles. That's great. So Kelgarath's Judgment of Kelgarath is going to get, this is a pretty good buff for Judgment of Kelgarath. Reconstruction has been simplified under the hood so that we can place the perk on more weapons without exceeding Bungie perk budgets. This results in a slight change to the timing of the perk where initial timer and the cooldown timer between reloads have been unified. Base perk 4 seconds, enhanced perk 3.5 seconds.
Nice.
Shoot to loot is already situationally useful, but we've been looking for a good way to allow players to interact with orbs of power at a distance, and this was an obvious option. Updated the perk, updated to pick up orbs of power. Awesome. Currently, this only works on direct hits. The ability for the orbs to be picked up with the weapon detonations will be added in a future patch. Very nice.
I'm trying to think, is there any rocket launchers with shoot to loot or grenade launchers?
Why would you use a rocket launcher to shoot to loot?
Because think about it, you use a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher to kill a whole group of red bars.
I would only take it if it's on that island tomorrow.
And then as they die, the explosion picks up all the orbs and feeds them right to you.
That would be nice.
It'd be awesome. Now, the future. We are in the process of redesigning how Zoom interacts with the damage roll-off.
Which I went over.
I've
already said that, haven't I?
Well, there you go.
I did. Because that was on the Massive Breakdown podcast, I believe. No?
This was... you read this one at the top.
Yeah, this was on the Firing Range podcast that had Mercules on there. So
interesting.
It is
interesting. Now that we are 2 hours into the show, I suppose we might as well talk about this week at Bungie.
Do we have to? Or...
I mean, weapon sandbox tuning, ability tuning, tuning, quality of life, crucible updates. We can definitely skip that one. 3 new outstanding aspects, Hunter Threat Inspector. Oh, you know what? Asacross didn't test the Hunter Strand ability. That's super. I'm pretty sure that's still king for damage, but he didn't test it.
Okay.
Damn it.
Did he just forget?
I don't know, maybe.
So this week at Bungie for the 18th of May, like 5 days away. And today we're only like 3 days away from the new season. So we're saying goodbye to Season of Defiance. Well, I'm not. Why are you deucing now? You're not going.
Because I'm saying goodbye. I'm already done with the season, dude.
I'm not. I've got so much more to do. I've still got like about 18 challenges to do.
Oh, no.
Dust.
I don't care.
I did game stuff. I'm Guardian gamed out. I all the stuff from that. I'm quite happy.
Guardian games. What about the bet? How do we find out?
We've got to. I told you. I said this is a bet that is reliant on Bungie telling us at the end of the season. Okay. If they don't tell us, there can't be a winner.
So there's no like convoluted website that tells you this information or anything. We just have to wait for Bungie.
Really? You want me to go and find a convoluted website and give you the stats to say that I won? And if I do that, you'll go, I'm not taking that.
He wants you to dig into the code.
I'm not. What? I just want to know who won, dude.
Well, I could always come up with a compromise then.
Well, I don't want you to come up with anything. I want to know the numbers.
If Bungie do not tell us who was the most prevalent. Yeah, that's the word. Prevalent class in the PvP side of the Guardian games, like in Supremacy, which, Titans, Warlocks, or Hunters, whichever ones came out on the top. Mm-hmm. If they don't tell us that, what about we just, each one of us get to delete one thing from each other's eye?
I was already thinking of that last week.
I knew you were thinking that.
Yeah.
And I got there, didn't you?
I want to get rid of those damn things that you...
I know you do. But one thing each. Just one thing.
Yeah, one thing. And you have to be honest as to what thing is the most important to you. Just like
No, I'm not telling you anything.
you gotta be.
No,
You gotta be.
you
Yeah,
just
you got to.
I told you get carte blanche on my vault. You can literally on anything on my character. You can just delete anything, and I will take that. Just the one thing though, you get to choose.
Does
And
that include a character? Can I delete a character?
no, because
Yeah,
you
I
know
got
I'll delete your hunter in reverse.
Just let me take off all the gear first.
No, it just goes.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay. What one thing if they don't tell us, I'm going to be hassling them on on the Twitters and everything now. Please tell us that the Titans won.
Oh yeah, and this is gonna be live streamed, and I want to have the chat give feedback too.
Yeah.
No, he's lying to you. He really, really, really loves the raisins. Get rid of the raisins. No, it's the toothbrush, man. He covets the toothbrush.
It's the celery. It's the celery.
No,
The celery.
the celery and raisins aren't there anymore, are they?
I have no idea. I deleted that years ago.
Don't make me delete my finest matter weave. No.
One at a time.
What are these enhancement cores?
Yeah, right. I can't help but see that stack of 10 golf balls right there. You don't really need that stack, do you?
No.
But okay, so we got, what do we have?
What do we have? Well, last week, and we've talked about it this week again, season 21 Armour
So then we can
update.
skip it. Cool.
And we went over the weapons. They've talked about the second week of Guardian Games. We already know that the Titans have won overall in the Guardian Games. Respawn knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
at the end of the
surprise.
day, it was no surprise.
I was hoping Warlocks would win. I really was hoping Warlocks would win. Just so everybody could freak out about the whole conspiracy thing when Bungie screwed up and declared them the winners. Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked about the Eververse storefront getting an update. That was last week as well.
Mm-hmm.
They teased the new dungeon last week, but for this week,
did they? Oh yeah, the Titan, the Titan one.
Yeah. Well, for this week, they're going to go over all the major changes coming in season 21. So we'll have a brief look at that. We're going to look at the new strand aspects for all three classes. Seasonal artifact. They say it's an in-depth preview, but it just tells you what the seasonal artifact is. It doesn't show you what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a note from the engineering team. There's an update to the standings of the Guardian Games and the Guardian Games Cup. Introducing Asian at Bungie and the new Twitch bounty emblem. So the economy, don't forget, next season, Rahul's exotic engram focusing goes live, so you can decrypt or focus exotic engrams with tier 1 and tier 2 options. As we discussed, you do need to own the expansion and previously have acquired said exotic to then re-roll it to get the rolls that you want on it. So there are a few caveats to
But I thought they said if you don't have it, you can craft it, but it just costs way more materials to craft it initially for that first roll. No?
No, I think you actually have to own or have it had drop, because otherwise that would negate you going and doing a lost sector to go and get. Yeah,
that was the idea.
No, that's not the idea.
No.
The idea is to get a roll that is suitable for the build that you want to put together.
Well, no, I'm saying that that's the idea because not everybody can do those lost sectors. You know what I'm saying? Having an alternative way for somebody to get a new piece of armor would have been a smart idea, I think.
Other places now.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say they added more. What's that one activity on Neomuna where you can get exotics that you haven't had previously acquired?
Okay.
Terminal overload or something.
Yeah. And they also
Vex incursion, one of those.
They're taking away some of the pinnacle rewards for next season because they know that more people will be closer to the pinnacle power. So it will be an exotic drop instead, basically. And if the exotic drops work the same way that they do now, that if you're missing an exotic and you go to Rahul and it's just standard decrypt it without having to pay out for it, it should give you an exotic that you don't currently have on a knockout system. Once you've got the exotics that you want, you can then use the exotic engrams that you get dropped, saved, and then use those to decrypt into a better roll of said exotic, if that's the way you want to kind of do it.
This hurts me, the changes to the pinnacles. This hurts me because I really only focus on playing just Crucible. So
Yeah.
I don't do pinnacles. So I'm currently at like 1821. Like I can't even go into a lost sector and do it comfortably right now. So this I really needed to do my pinnacles, but I just didn't do it.
What's your power level without your artifact?
I think 1807.
That's not too far off for then, because you've got then another 3 months to then get to 1810, and then your artifact on top of that. So next season you'll have more of a chance to kind of do that. But yeah,
I hope so.
I do get you, because there are a lot of players like that. And I think I was saying to Noble this week, and I was saying to Blue Screen, that I've struggled this season because we've had a new expansion and a season. And it's been so quick with the way I know it's 3 months, and I know Noble was saying that he wants kind of the next season to come because he's bored of this season. But there's been so much stuff for me to do challenge wise, because I like to make sure that I get all the challenges done. I like to get all the triumphs that I can possibly get done. There's more stuff that I would like to get done, but I've kind of taken like the foot off the gas basically with how much I can kind of get done. I mean, I know this weekend is crunch time for trying to get the challenges done, and I probably won't get my large pile of bright dust, and this would be the first time that I don't
just give up. Just give up.
Yeah,
Just give up.
Just quit.
There's just been so much to do, and if you're kind of, if you are like you just like playing PvP, you are kind of stuck with, you can only go so far with your pinnacles each season, and you can't really do too much. I mean, there's a challenge that says that you basically have to complete the raid. I've done one of the nodes on there to say that I've done a bit of.
Bro, you need to do a raid? I got you, bro. Let me know.
I know. If I wanted to, I could do it, but then it's setting the time.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him.
Okay,
I'm never
okay.
taking you into a raid again. Hell no.
I've never done a D2 raid.
Well, there you go. Raid? Yes, raid, damn we.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to kind of hitting the pinnacle power this season to then focus on just doing the stuff that I actually like enjoying. Because I think next season we haven't got there's not an upgrade system at the helm to do for the seasonal activities. It's just not going to be there. So what's going to be the replacement for this season coming up?
Wait, you're telling me that Drifter isn't going to drag a giant fish tank into one of the side rooms on the helm?
He could possibly still do that, but I'm saying that there's no, at the moment, like when you go to the helm, you have to upgrade your war table. That's not going to be a thing next season. So
I was really hoping for like a giant fish tank or something.
There could be other stuff to do, but it's just there's definitely going to be challenges of making sure that you get the story done each week, which I know now that I've got time to go and do that each week rather than trying to rush to get to pinnacle power or get through the Lightfall campaign on all 3 characters. That was another kind of sticking point. So it was like I haven't been able to enjoy the game for what I like to enjoy the game. I mean, I did for the Iron Banners, I kind of put that aside of I'm going to play Iron Banner. I really like my Iron Banner. I'm going to play each week as much as I can. So I neglected story and progressing through the campaign and stuff, so that I was kind of done that. But yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from, and I kind of get where Noble's coming from, that he wants the next new thing, but he doesn't want the same as the past couple of seasons where it's go to the pirate ship and shoot the lads, go to the Ascendant Realm and shoot the lads. He wants something different, and we might possibly get that next season or the season after, because we've kind of got Bungie have had that feedback from us for the last year of saying we don't want to kind of just keep going around on the same treadmill of go to the helm, upgrade the helm node, then go and do something else and do the story for 6 weeks, and then it's the seasonal stuff. Then it's kind of the activity that we then tie to challenges. It's they've got to reinvent the game or iterate on what we've kind of currently got in the game. Like we said a couple of weeks back, Respawn, Crimson Days was amazing. Supremacy has shown that bringing a game mode back for a specific event has possibly re-incentivized PvP players to play and non-PvP players to play a game mode that isn't normally there. I think that's the same with Iron Banner. Because it's not normally there, it's a game mode where you can go in and play it for that week and it's enjoyable. I'm not sure how Supremacy has kind of stacked up against that for 3 weeks. I've still enjoyed it every week that it's been there. Knowing that it's now going, is a bit sad. But I'd like to see more kind of things like Crimson Days, Supremacy, even
Pro
Trials. I think
Racing League.
if they could bring it in, yeah. But you know what I mean. It's just
Well, not
something.
even Sparrow Racing League, but going back to what we had earlier, right? The raids, raids coming back.
Yeah.
Bro, bring back the raid that had the. I mean, it wasn't Sparrow Racing League, but you better go fast or the giant sun's going to eat you, right? I love that raid, man. And it's a 30-minute raid, dude. And yeah, you got an aspect of racing in there where you better go fast on your Sparrow or you're going to die, So, what?
But the problem is, I think they'd have to kind of tweak that because we've now used the Elixir Quarter as their kind of base of operations where they now are. But then I'd like to see that. Like I said, when they were talking about bringing the Kingsfall back, maybe incorporate the way that they originally envisaged Kingsfall to be the Crota raid, and then that fed into Kingsfall, and it was this huge raid. I think that would have been amazing. I mean, if they'd have gone back to the point where you could, like we did before, where we had save points on the different the raids, I think that would have been really cool. Like if you got past the Crota bit at the beginning of the week, you could then load up into the Kingsfall part of it. But they're just going to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from a design standpoint, like that would be a really, really cool idea to like combine what is essentially a dungeon in what Crota's End is, like to add it onto King's Fall, but like lore wise, it doesn't really make sense. Like, and that might be like the reason why they don't do something like that. Because Crota's on the moon, his Ascendant Realm is essentially the portals on the moon, and then Oryx's Dreadnought is like you have to like turn yourself inside out to get into the Ascendant Realm. Like, yeah, pretty much.
It could have been a way that once we've taken down Crota, we get teleported or transported to the Dreadnought, and then we continue the journey from there. There could have been a way.
Yeah,
could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could so you know how at the end of the campaign mode, and when you're going for Strand or whatever, right? There's that one part where you're trapped and the Empress Keitel has to free you, and then you jump on the Sparrow to race to the end to that, right? Like just can we have something like that, but just way longer,
I think they keep teasing it, don't they? Of like, oh, we could put this in the game, that we could incorporate this in the game, but yeah.
Where's the Horde mode? I mean, like the truly never-ending Horde mode.
See, that'd be fun, but I'm more talking about Sparrow racing than anything else, man. I mean, shooting things is fun too, but also getting on the Sparrow, hitting that throttle, and praying to God you don't get shot enough for that thing to blow up. I think is very fun, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you happen to have a Sparrow that not a lot of enemies shoot at, and also happens to be the fastest one in the game, well then it's even better. That's all I'm saying.
Right?
Not everyone has that Sparrow.
Which is why that raid I was previously talking about should come back, so people can get that Sparrow.
So also with the economy updates, we have weapon deep sight activation. So there's a new currency called Deep Sight Harmonizer, and there's changes to the crafting costs. So legendary shards are no longer a requirement.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Hooray.
Oh, wait, how do you get that currency though? You probably have to dismantle weapons, right?
The Deep Sight Harmonizer is the ones that you can only get from the reward track. So I believe you get 3 on the non-paid and 3 on the paid track.
So you get 5 total.
So you get 6,
I think.
6. So you better get that one weapon you want to custom.
Well, I think it's 2 per. You use 2 harmonizers per non-raid weapon, and then if it's a raid weapon, it's 5 harmonizers.
Yeah, there was. I think it was. Yeah, it was 2. Wasn't it 2 harmonizers and raid tokens to get that weapon? But yeah, and there were also requirements for like you couldn't purchase it from the raid chests. You couldn't. It had to be a drop in the raid that wasn't a red border for you to then apply that to become a red border to then unapply it so that you then generate the pattern for it. There's a lot of constraints and caveats to it. If you start fresh and you get the weapons to drop, say you're looking for like the Ikelos set, you will only be able to do one of these weapons if you've got no red borders on that weapon from like the start of season 21. So you'll be able to only do one weapon per season with one like a harmonizer left over for the next season. But it is something. It's definitely a beta thing that Bungie are testing to see.
Well, I'm missing something
how it
because I'm
goes.
recrafting weapons all the gosh damn time. That sounds like the worst possible thing for me, unless
This
you only
is
use those in certain circumstances.
Yeah, this is like for me, if I had 4 out of 5 patterns for
Yeah.
like an Ikylos SMG, and I was like, wow, I really want to craft an Ikylos, but I don't have it. Oh, look, I actually had an Ikylos drop for me today when I was doing the moon patrols. So I can, next season, I'll be able to apply a harmonizer and get that final pattern so I can craft my Ikylos.
Exactly. So yeah, any of the weapons you kind of got in your vault
I'd be
now that are
so
ones
lost.
that could potentially be a red border, you could then apply the harmonizers to next season and then turn them into a red border to then recover the pattern from.
Oh, so it just makes the
Yeah.
weapon a red border.
Yes.
Yeah. And it
Oh.
can't be previously have been a red border.
I see. That's where my confusion was. I thought like you had to use these things to craft weapons as a currency instead of legendary shards next season. I'm all right, I'm
No.
tracking now. So it lets you cheat basically. It's like, holy crap, I've got 4 of these. I need a 5th.
Yes.
F it,
Well, not
just give me
cheat,
the 5th.
but you
Okay.
get the drop, but they're not red border drops anymore. They're just
Yeah.
The
And you have
cost
to
is
take-
high.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm on board.
we've been over the weapon sandbox tuning. The ability tuning we went over a couple of weeks back. So there's lots of buffs to the supers on PvE and more fragment slots for several aspects. Improved melee for strand as well as a lower cooldown for grapple. A few buffs to stasis and a
Oh my
long,
god, I can't wait for
very
that.
long.
Anybody else have melee based builds for strand and you can't wait for them to I'm sorry, let me start over. When you shoot the strand, when you shoot it out the first time and you have to wait 9.4 years to be able to shoot it again, that's so aggravating, And if you're trying to live your best Tarzan life, that's going to kill you,
Yeah.
So when they remove that, that's going to be one of the best days from one of my best builds.
I'm actually going to have to do my strand meditations. That's another thing I have not done. I've unlocked strand. I have not used it at all.
Get your fish bucks.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to grind because these new aspects coming out are going to be nice and tasty.
They are. And I'm
Speaking
sure
of-
Respawn will show us in a second. But
Mhm.
it is working for me at the moment of playing on my Warlock, getting the strand bucks, and as long as I don't complete the Warlock like nodes of aspects and fragments, I can keep generating the fish bucks to then put into my hunter so that I then don't have to take my hunter onto like Neomuna and generate the fish bucks. I can just get the Warlock to feed the fish bucks to the hunter. So that's
There's
working
no-
so far at the moment.
There's no limit the amount you can hold.
I think
Correct.
I think it went up to 1,000 fish bucks.
Oh,
Or maybe it was something at the time, and I was trying to remember this week, but rather than getting to the cap, I was just taking them and spending them so that I didn't have to worry about it. But
Right.
I vaguely remember at the start of the season there was a lot of complaints that there was a cap on the fish bucks, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And I know
Fish
it doesn't-
bucks.
But they are.
That's what they are.
True.
So what he's trying to explain to you guys out there that haven't quite finished all your strand yet is like buy all the strand that you're going to be using, but leave one of the strand aspects that you're never going to use. Just don't buy it, right? And as long as you don't buy it, you'll keep getting dropped the fish bucks. As soon as you buy it, that character will no longer be able to generate fish bucks. So just don't buy the last one that you're never going to use. Keep getting that money. Keep getting that money.
Keep collecting those
Money!
puka pesos.
I like that.
Fish bucks is better.
Fish bucks, yeah.
Fish bucks is better.
So they're also introducing several quality of life updates in Season 21, and here is a list of them with further details available in the May 4th TWAB. So there's going to be new Vanguard bounties, which we've already gone over, which basically means that you can complete them anywhere rather than just kind of going to a strike or a nightfall, but they'll just take longer to do. So there's a lot of changes to that. Finest matter weave and rainmakers can now be consumed to earn the associated material. So the matter weave are the ones that will give you ascendant shard. No,
Course.
Enhancement cores.
Enhancement cores, and the Rainmakers will give you Glimmer, basically. The Good Boy Protocol will be coming back to the tower, and certain triumphs now boost raid exotic drop rates in the Last Wish, Deepstone Crypt, Vow the Disciple, Vault of Glass, and King's Fall. They are all retroactive. So if you've done mountains of these, and you are not doing these raids on a week that it is the featured raid, because if it is the featured raid for that week, you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic, which is good. So it will just boost your like chances at getting said exotic. So that's good. Crucible updates. In addition to bringing the classic Meltdown PvP map into the rotation, they are making several changes and updates on how Trials of Osiris will work in Season 21. And their intention is to make it a more rewarding game mode without taking away the challenge. So the Flawless Pool is being replaced by the new Practice Pool and Challenge Pool. There's a new Trials quest for new players. Some Trials passages have been adjusted to provide a better experience, which basically means there are like your Trials passage that you can go down and pick up from Saint 14 at the weekends. There is the Mercy one now gives you like 2 Mercies. As long as you don't go Flawless. When you go Flawless and then you pick up the Mercy card again, it'll only give you the 1 Mercy. But before that, you can just pick up the one that can give you 2 Mercies, which is quite nice. Elimination is out and Dominion is in, and that will be the core mode for Trials until further notice, until people complain excessively. I played last weekend Trials of Osiris because I needed to do my challenge of like win 20 rounds. And initially I went in there with my Titan build of, I'm just going to do what I want to kind of do. And I found out very quickly I needed to be like a Bubble Titan with a Wither Horde. It was that simple. It was like, as soon as I put on a Wither Horde and my auto rifle, we won. I don't understand why we're now moving Trials to this kind of game mode rather than elimination. But hey, I'm not in charge of this. But this is the way it's going to go.
It moves the needle faster. Elimination, you get people who stand back, and just like we were talking about earlier with the Warlocks with the Bootsy Assembler, they just dig into a spot and they post up, and then it's time to finally do something when the round's starting to close out. So Dominion's going to make people like have to move towards zones, move to different areas in the map, like Midtown. There's going to be like the 3 different zones.
Yeah.
So it's just going to get people to move around more and be like force them to engage each other and not play so passively.
Like weapons like the grenade launchers, like a Fighting Lion possibly with a Horde are going to take a hit because they are going to be the dominant weapons. You're going to need like 2 or even all 3 of you running Wither Hordes or frame wave grenade launchers in this game mode to kind of.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, it's nice up to a point, but yeah,
I think they're nice in general, especially the heavy one. Now that we have a heavy wave-range grenade launcher, let's go.
So also Gilding the Flawless still has new requirements, and there's plenty of information about that in the May 4th TWAB, in case you want to read more. But we did go over it quite, in depth. Respawn and I, yeah, we did. The 3 new outstanding aspects. So just 2 weeks ago, they teased us, and this week we get some videos in the TWAB, which Respawn will probably go over.
Dun, 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 dun.
So this looks good. Hunters get Threaded Spectre, which is basically a decoy that you leave behind. And it is a decoy woven from strand matter that draws the attention of nearby combatants. Like, when they say combatants, they mean like the Vex in the video, basically.
Right.
I'm not sure how much this is going to play out in Crucible. I mean, it's going to ping the radar like it would a Guardian.
Does it ping the radar, though?
It does.
It does. It does. In addition to something else.
As well as when you scope in, it will give the nameplate of the person that dropped the Threaded Spectre as well. So you might think that it is them, kind of maybe being invisible or whatever. If you do shoot them and you deal damage, that releases threadlings that seek out and attack by foes.
Yeah, and then it does detonate, and when it detonates, obviously it's going to do damage, right, and kill ads. But if there's nothing around it when it detonates, it releases threadlings, and they seek out and attack nearby foes. Yay!
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Halo do this with
Master Chief? I have no idea.
I don't either.
I'm sure it was in Halo 3. he could send out a decoy that would just run out with its weapon. It looked like the actual player run out.
This looks like a Borderlands thing. I remember Borderlands 1 maybe having something like this.
No. I'm thinking Borderlands, the prequel, where Jack and his clones.
Yes.
Except his clones would, kill you. Actually, this one kills you too.
Do something.
Yeah.
Titans, we get Flechette Storm. So while sliding, activating your charge melee to a leap into the air, knocking nearby targets away.
Oh, that looks so devastating.
While airborne, you activate your charge melee again to launch a cluster of damaging.
I don't want Titans to have this. No.
Do you see the wave, like the radius of the uppercut first?
Yeah.
Like that covers a pretty big angle.
And then you just sling it. Imagine if you're jumping off of a tall object, dude. You're just swinging until you hit the ground. Good Lord.
What if you didn't use like the additional melee charges? Like, what if you didn't throw the fletchets? If you just like held on to the extra melee charges and like you ramped to a warlock and just booped him off the edge?
I'm wondering, there's got to be a limit to this, because it says that as long as you're falling, you get to sling these things out, right? But that's like, oh my God, just right here. He jumps up. He jumps up in the air, and then just starts slinging for like 4 seconds. He's slinging out these projectiles, dude. That's more than freaking warlocks do. Like what?
Yeah, but which part uses the melee charge? Is it the uppercut or is it? Yeah.
The second part. Well, the first part uses a portion of melee energy, and then when you activate it, it uses the rest.
And then Titans get 3 melee charges, and then even they made the change that
3.
Yeah, that they made the change that the more melee charges you have, the faster your melee charge regenerates. So if you just use the one uppercut and then fling someone away from you and then clean them up with the weapon.
So you can do that nonsense 3 freaking times.
And what happens
back to back
if you pair these with the Lion Ramparts, which are the Titan exotic boots, which provide an additional aerial maneuverability and endurance and enables accurate hit fire when you're airborne. And it provides a larger benefit to airborne effectiveness stat.
I don't think that's going to do anything to that.
Or Antaeus wards.
Yeah.
Well, what about, hold on. The Peregrine Greaves, is that arc only?
No, it's just shoulder charge.
Yeah, it's the shoulder charge.
Oh, shoulder charge, so not melee. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything
that increases melee damage is going to make this ridiculous.
I'm going with Lion Ramparts, because if you're in the air and you're hovering in air, you could potentially keep throwing out those things.
That's why I was asking, is there a limit to how many you can throw? Because I see this Titan stops when the enemies are gone. But I don't know if he stops because the enemies are gone or because he's run out of energy, right? But the flavor text on the ability says, as long as you're in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do the whole rocket spam thing where you shoot the rocket in the air and you tether onto that rocket, can you do that all the way to the ground?
Well, no, because you have to do the slide lunge first.
Oh, fair enough. All right, so you would have to slide lunge off the side of a building and just all the way down.
You could do that, yeah.
No, there were some high points in raids and whatnot where there's high ledges. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just in regular parts of the game, just there are ledges. There are high ledges, and you as a Titan, you yeet yourself off that ledge and just for the next 5 minutes, you're slinging these freaking things down to the ground. Get out of here.
And I can't remember which podcast it was. It was either on Firing Range or the Destiny Massive Breakdowns that they said that these, like the Titan one, will only come in with one fragment slot. So there is a trade-off for how good these are kind of coming in. And again, they'll probably revisit it if it isn't as devastating as we think it's going to be.
That looks... yeah.
And the Warlock
as devastating as we think it's going to be. This is in PvP. Imagine this Titan just raining down on you with these throwing knives that don't seem to end.
It's not even a super,
and it's not even a super. Yo, I'm gonna start my rant now. Hold on, give me a pen and paper. Hold on.
Whoa! Slow down. You have a literal decoy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The warlocks.
Let my decoy stand still while you rain down upon me with hate and discontent. Yeah,
you have two or three threadlings that are stacked on top of each other with a gray trench coat on, pretending to be you.
Yes, again, they're on the ground, not moving, as you rain down upon me with hate and discontent. Which one of these two are better, bud? Right?
My Fletched Storm is gonna target your decoy before it targets you.
You can aim it though. I'm watching him aim it.
I really wish they kept the HUD on during this video, right?
Yeah, like.
But the warlocks,
but even if you are aiming at it, it's going to take like what, 1 or 2 shots, and then the rest of this firestorm's coming after my ass. Get out of here, man!
But the warlocks,
no, that's not the sound you need to make.
Warlocks until I can actually speak. Warlocks, they're getting the Wanderer. Angles you throw attached to enemies and detonate into suspending bursts, and threading final blows create a tangle. So, yeah,
this is great for warlocks. But it's boring.
Didn't that already happen?
Yeah, I think that was because it's an aspect that not an aspect. It's part of the
artifact mod.
Artifact mod. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm confused because as a hunter, I can pick mine up and I can throw it and it detonates.
That's because you're a hunter. The warlocks don't get this intrinsically until now.
Oh, really? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of the artifact, the refundable artifact is almost here. Are you ready to wield your new NPA repulsor regulator? Huh?
How did you say?
The NPA.
The artifact.
Yeah. Yes.
Before we get into that, are they going to make it so that whenever we make our builds, right? So I have a strand build and it needs the strand artifacts, and I have a solar build that needs solar artifacts, and I have a void build that needs void artifacts. Whenever we swap between our different builds that we're making, is it going to also change the artifact to give me the mods that I need for my build?
No, because the artifact is static. But
get out of here.
You have to manually do it at the moment, and next season we should be able to refund one from whichever column and change it around. So rather than having to
do the whole thing
and then go back through and try and remember what you clicked and what you hadn't clicked from the last one and what you're trying to do now, it's just like 1 for 1, which is a lot better. So for column 1, we have anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable hand cannon, overload scout rifle, overload trace rifle, and unstoppable glaives.
Nice.
Okay. Awesome.
So for column 2, we had authorized mods, arc, void, strand, melee, and Technicolor Siphon, which is basically what we've got at the moment, that it just reduces the armor costs of your arc weapon, void weapon, strand weapon, your melee.
Except this is strand and arc.
Yes, so like we've got this season at the moment.
I know, it didn't reduce. Technicolor Siphon grants access to helmet armor mods that combine the effects of strand and arc. It doesn't reduce the cost.
It does reduce the energy costs, and the Technicolor one is the one where it combines it. So at the moment, if you just put on the authorized mods, it's 1 energy instead of 3. Mm-hmm. And then if you put the Technicolor one, it combines the arc and the, say, arc and strand into 1 mod that you can put on your gauntlets, and it will charge you 3, but for 1 slot.
Mm-hmm. That's a good trade-off, I guess. Yeah.
So rather than kind of putting like 1, 2, 3 and taking up 3 slots, you can just buy 1, and it will just charge you the cost of 3.
And column 3,
improved unraveling, increases the amount of damage dealt by unraveling targets. Deeper origins greatly improves the benefit provided by unsated.
Unsated hunger, nanotech tracer rounds, harmonic resonance, and noble deeds. Unsated hunger is a new trait. We don't have that, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it must be on the seasonal, like the ritual. Not the ritual, but the you know what I'm trying to say.
I got you. Into the breach. Defeating a void debuff target creates a void breach while your void subclass is equipped. What is a void breach? Is that like the well?
Yeah, it's like the fire spray, the ionic trace. It's like the equivalent to like stasis crystal, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Cool. That'll be handy, especially with that new sword. Not the new sword, but the new sword changes. Electric Armour. Stay amplified longer while your arc subclass is equipped. Yo, I think I'm doing. Remember, guys, the arc punchy super punchy punch build of Doom that I made for y'all that I showed y'all how to build. That's gonna be unbelievably useful this season.
Yeah, you should have your amplified up 100% of the time with this, right?
Oh my god, I hope so. I'm gonna be a deadly stripper pole throwing hunter this season. I'm telling you. What else do we have here? Thunderous Retort. Grants bonus arc super damage if cast while critically wounded or while amplified. Oh my god, seriously? While amplified? Come on, dude. Lasts until the end of the super activation. Oh my god, yeah, dude, get amplified, throw the stripper pole, game over. Right now, the stripper pole is doing like 600k. Flat out. Right? So, freaking go amplify and then chuck that bad boy. That might be one of the most powerful send it and forget it supers next season. Daggone.
Star Eater scales or it's gonna bang hard.
For column 3, we have improved unraveling. No, hold on. Column 4, my bad. Strand Soldier. Your strand weapons gain unraveling rounds whenever you gain woven mail while your strand subclass is equipped. Cool. I'm very often covered in woven mail. Overcharged armory. Weapons with unsated hunger, nanotech tracer rounds, harmonic resonance, and noble deed traits are always overcharged weapons for you when that modifier is active. Nice. Protective Breach. Picking up a Void Breach gives you an overshield or refreshes your existing overshield.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Gee, Void or Arc? Super Punchy or Invis Hunter? Ooh, I can't decide. Counter Charge. Gain a stack of armor charge when you stun a champion. Okay. Amped Up. Gain damage resistance while amplified. Hunters already have a perk that gives us increased resistance, right? If we get increased resistance on top of increased resistance while we're punching things to death, let's go. Liar's Handshake is going to be so broken. Oh my god.
Yeah, 100%.
Column 5. Conductive Cosmic Needle. That's a hell of a name. Targets affected by strand debuffs take increased damage from arc and void abilities? So you got the one guy that strings everybody up and the arc and void does more damage? That's kind of awesome. Nice. Shock and Awe. Arc final blows while you are amplified. There's that word again. Summon a burst of lightning that damages and jolts targets?
Thunderlord at home.
Bro, I am a Thunderlord. I will be a walking, punching Thunderlord. Let's go. What?
It gets better.
Supernova. Picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. That's dope. Squad Goals. Performing a finisher while you're amplified grants amplified to nearby allies when your arc subclass is equipped. Performing a finisher while you have Woven Mail grants Woven Mail to allies. And performing a finisher while you have Devour grants Devour? Like, what? Nice. And Lightning Strikes twice. After throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time. Arc Final Blows extend the duration of this benefit? So you chuck a grenade, start punching, and that grenade just keeps going?
Yeah.
Yo, what?
Arc Final Blow, so you don't even need to punch anything. You could just shoot people with arc, and it keeps going.
True.
And if you've got Armamentarium on and you get 2 grenades, you could throw one, shoot somebody, throw another one, shoot somebody, throw another one, shoot somebody.
Do those grenades feed into each other? Because they're arc?
Of course they will.
Oh my god.
Of course.
Oh my god.
Well,
okay.
we are nerfing the Titan.
The smile on my face, if I had the webcam on right now, I'm just, oh my god.
And the arc grenade final blows. Yeah. They extend the duration. That's crazy.
That is nuts. Freaking,
honestly, with pulse grenades on like a low tier boss, it's gonna be pretty nasty because then you just go fight ads. and
Well,
then
not
just throw
even
the
that.
grenade
Pulse
back on
grenades
the
are good
boss.
too, but pulse grenades got nerfed. What's the lightning bolt grenade?
Storm grenades?
I think so.
Those are cool.
Yeah, storm grenades, and the one that's like my Hunter Void spike. It just has like lightning hitting it periodically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
when we were talking about no backup plans earlier, the what's the word? Like the loop of gameplay with refreshing your overshield and getting shotgun kills and it increasing the damage of your shotgun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on no backup plans, grab my bone chiller, which is a pinpoint slug. I'm going to be able to do long range body shots, even longer range headshots. I'm going to throw my sentinel shield, not my sentinel shield, but my shield throw, which is going to make them volatile and weakened. And I'm going to be able to make void breaches, orbs of light, and proc these weakening explosions and even more overshields. It's going to be 100% void overshield uptime with spreading a lot of volatile and weakening to your opponents.
Yep.
It's going to be really, really, really
That's
nasty.
completely balanced. Nope. It's completely balanced.
Trials is going to be interesting.
That's a word.
Yeah.
It's
I
going
have
to go
another
hard in
word for you.
sixes too.
But my word only has 4 letters.
But we have an update to elemental shields or enemy elemental shields.
What? What's the update?
Oh, apparently this is to do with like over the past years, the dev team has introduced numerous changes to the core gameplay experience, and they've overhauled the internal system as well as endeavored to make the game more accessible to our audience. So I think they're blaming you, Respawn, for being colorblind, as this will only be a visual change. So the example that they give is the cylindrical purple kind of squares that we get round like a Minotaur at the moment is now going to change to a purple haze around them. But I'm not 100% sold on this, and I think from what I was listening to on the DCP
That's even
podcast,
worse. Like, even in this video, I can't tell if that's Arc or Void.
yeah, I think this is what they were saying on DCP podcast this week, is that there's a lot of complaints already in the community to say this is worse than what we have.
Yeah.
So why have you not kind of consulted with people that this would affect before you've gone ahead and changed it? Because
Like,
obviously,
I don't know, the colorblind people? Because
Yeah.
this one has way more purple on it. And because the purple spread out, you can see that it is, in fact, purple. Now, don't get me wrong. With the shields that are like this, I have a hard time with Arc and another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. It's hard to tell.
I mean, they are basically. They said when we
Arc and
overhauled
and
the system,
the
we took
ice
the opportunity to
the
create
ice,
visuals that are more accessible for colorblind players and players with other visual impairments. So they're blaming you, Respawn. Basically,
Well,
they're
not
one
blaming
step
me.
away
They're
from saying
punishing
Respawn.
me.
They're one step away from saying that it's your fault.
They're punishing me for it. This literally, there's a couple of points where this does look like it's turned into an arc shield, and then as he backs off, it gets more purpley. But as that thing was running towards him, that looked white. That looked like an arc freaking shield. You know? Oh my god, that is.
I don't have a problem discerning the. Well, I'm not colorblind, so I don't have really have a problem with the colors.
Thanks for your input.
I have a problem with how easily it'll be to not understand which shield it is, like right off the bat. 'Cause, I mean, just looking at the second one, the new updated one, you kind of have to think for it just a second, and that's coming from someone who's not colorblind at all. Like, I know it's a void shield, but I have to like really kind of think about it for a second, especially because now his entire front of his body is not.
There's nothing there. Yeah, you can't even tell if he's got a shield on. You know.
That will be a problem.
If you wanted to do something, Bungie, to help colorblind people, here's what to do, right? Arc shield, have little electric pulses zapping off of it, right? Some kind of visual thing. For a flame shield, put fire on him, right? For void, maybe like a purple swirl, kind of like a shroud around it that's like circling it, kind of like a small purple tornado. For ice, you know, put literal ice on him, you know, like ice armor or whatever, right? And for stasis, not stasis, the green stuff. Strand, just put like strings hanging off him or strings kind of circling around him or something like that, right? Give us a visual indicator that has nothing to do with color. Change the particle aspects of the shields instead of the gosh damn color, and that would help out colorblind people.
Yeah, I agree. The first one, the way it is right now, it actually looks like a shield. It looks like something that your opponent is putting up to prevent damage from getting to them. The other one is just like, this is the flavor of this enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a purple enemy. What does that mean? You'll find out.
Mm-hmm. Shoot me with purple and find out.
Or shoot me with anything that's not purple and find out, especially in a Grandmaster. Good Lord, man.
Yeah.
Given that the majority of these shields have been in service since 2017, the number of bespoke combatant shields has become more difficult to maintain as we significantly expanded the number of enemy combatants in the game. Or you know what else you could do, Bungie? Don't put shields on them. Right? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
To address this challenge, we've made a large back-end shift to new shield systems that will be easier to maintain and improve upon. Which brings us to our next point, accessibility. When we decided to overhaul the system, we took the opportunity to create visuals that are more accessible for colorblind players, and players with other visual impairments. As such, there's no way you presented this to a colorblind person like, you know what, that's better. There's no way.
It looks like less shield to see.
Yeah, there's less color, and even then, because there's less color, I swear to you, like, I'm not even just talking smack. I swear, at least once or twice, while the thing's approaching him, it looked like it turned white, like an arc shield. That's just no, bro, no.
Is this a performance? This is a performance thing, right? Like,
I have
like
no
the
idea.
shields we have now are like, it's just too much for the game. It's too much. So we have to have all this different flavored fire.
As such, we minimize the visual information that's not relevant to gameplay in favor of bringing out the foreground more combat-relevant details.
This primarily takes form in more clearly surfacing the unit's shield element. Right now, the color of combatant shields are the only way a player can tell what the optimal element counter is. In the new system launching with Season of the Deep, we've included more visual artifacts with each shield type that indicates to players which elemental weapon type are best to use. As a final detail, we'd like to note that immunity shields, white shields, and shields for specific boss encounters will not be receiving this update. Due to their slightly more complicated nature, we're avoiding making any broad changes which could unintentionally impact encounter mechanics, designs, etc. So you're going to run around and be like, there's an unkillable Minotaur.
let me draw your attention, Mike, here. We've included more visual artifacts with each shield type. One more time. More visual artifacts with each shield type. That looks significantly less to me. I don't know about you guys. I could just be upset, but it looks like a lot less, artifacts.
It's taller. So if your Minotaur was hiding behind a crate, I guess
you can see him. I wonder if you can pop the shield since it's taller.
Ooh, does it affect the hitbox? Interesting.
I hope. That'd be nice. Stabilizing. And now a note from the engineering team. As part of the work to prepare for Lightfall, we embarked on a large technical upgrade to improve our Destiny 2 services and hardware. This work included updating our services to use new technologies as well as preparing for hardware upgrades. In the long run, this investment in the back end of Destiny 2 should lead to a more stable and reliable experience for all players, and a faster recovery in instances where service downtime does in fact occur. The launch of Lightfall was a great example of this, with high stability and uptime for both launch day and the Root of Nightmares World's First raid. I'm sorry, so many people got kicked this season. What?
I was going to say,
like, going to rant about how this has got to be one of the worst stability seasons we've had, dude.
Everything was fine at launch and during the launch of the raid, but every other moment in between, error codes everywhere.
Even new error codes, man. Error codes I ain't never even seen in the game before were popping up. Well, this is the most stable. Bro, Bro, like who is your PR rep? Is it what's her name? Something Jean-Pierre? Karen Jean, what the hell is her name? Whatever. Our current White House press secretary that can't tell the truth from a lie. Is she doing this for you, Bungie? Because this somebody ain't right, bro. Kareem Jean-Pierre, thank you. Yeah. Somebody just no. They either don't know what's going on, they've never played this game, or they're just straight up lying. This is
An AI wrote this.
it had to. Jesus. However, as millions of players have interacted with these services, we have discovered some issues that we're working on addressing. Yeah, like crashing. A prime example of this is our background service update system. Typically, several days before one of our Tuesday updates, we will stage the update on our servers. This upgrades our backend services to the new version and means that during the Tuesday patch, we only take a brief amount of downtime before letting players back into the game. However, this season, there's been the time. Remember when the update wasn't done until like Wednesday?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but no, this is the best ability they've had so far.
Anyway, season of the Seraph is pretty stable, but this season has just been it's been something else, really.
However, with our new libraries and code, we've discovered cases where the background update has put our services into a bad state, forcing us to bring Destiny 2 offline for extended maintenance. Okay, so the thing that you implemented to make the update faster, in fact, increased the downtime. Nice, Bungie. Well done.
Did they just tell us that extended maintenance, like offline extended maintenance, is going to be like a normal thing? And they're like, this is good.
Oh, this is the best thing ever. You know what? It gives you time to go out and touch some grass on Tuesdays. You know, we're doing this for you. They should have put that. That would have been more believable. You know what? We make Tuesdays take so long. That way, it gives players an excuse to go outside and feel the sun once a week, right? I would have believed
blunt honesty. Blunt honesty. Yeah.
So, what are we going to do about this? Well, we have a team focused on making corrections to our new services so that we can safely perform background updates again. Oh, God. However, while we do that work, we also want to make sure your Destiny 2 experience is as predictable as possible. So, Weasel, lots and lots of weasels. So many weasels. Therefore, starting with a Season of the Deep's launch update 7.1.0, we're moving to a scheduled downtime model where we bring Destiny 2 down offline for an expected 1.5 hours on our update days. This will allow us to do our quote staging and roll out on the same day and should make the experience more stable and reliable. In the meantime, we will continue to monitor performance, upgrade hardware, increase service reliability, and work to give you a great experience each time you play the game. Bungie, let me tell you something. This is what my company's been doing for decades, okay? And I recommend you do the same thing. Whenever we have to do maintenance on a system that will affect lots of users, what we do is we have somebody, now keep up with me, we have them come in the middle of the night at the lowest activity point, okay? You following? And then we do the updates then. Now, hold on, I know what you're saying, but that means we gotta have people come in the middle of the night. Yes, it does. 1 day a week, okay? You can even put in a team that does just that, okay? Now, let me tell you how this will improve your game, okay? When it goes down in the middle of the night, or at least in the middle of the night to your core player base, meaning Americans and part of Europe, right? That means less people are going to see how long it takes for you to fix your fuck up. I'm sorry. For you to fix your updates so that people can get back online. When you do it in the middle of the day, it's quite obvious for us to see how long it's taking. You take us out of our games during some of the prime playing hours of the day. It can sometimes take most of the day, which means we can't get back on at all during that day, or we have to wait till the next day, or whatever else, right? And you your player base that you removed them from the game from doing whatever it was that they were doing. So by doing this in the middle of the night, or at least during the lowest activity playtime of the day, you will experience significantly less players negatively, and therefore make your game at least appear on the surface to be more stable than what it currently is now. Okay? Stop doing this in the middle of the day. Do it at 1 or 2 in the morning, Monday night going into Tuesday. Okay? Done.
100% agree. I can't believe there's not a weekend team or an overnight team for like, emergencies or like the monthly, fix or here or there or whatever like that. Like, you don't trust anybody with the keys.
I mean, even your own people? Come on.
Yeah. It's one night or, one night or one weekend.
Yeah. And like I said, you can even put a team together for that, if you wanted to,
Nope, they just can't hire any more people. Not after that Sony buyout.
Actually, here's how you solve this issue, right? Check it out. You have the guys that come in the night of Monday to do all the updates. You give them Tuesday and Wednesday off. That is their weekend, okay? And then they work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then Monday they get ready for the update, right? So you have the weekend team because they took off Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's their weekend. And then you have the team who do this in the middle of the night. Same guys, right? Because they have the Monday and the Tuesday to recover to go back to the day shift. You see what I'm saying? And for those people out there, in 1 week they go from nights to days, bro, I do that crap all the time with my job. All right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that taxing on the body. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I work overnights and then my days off, I stay up during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like a normal human being.
So, I don't know if you knew this, but Guardian Games are in fact coming to an end.
I did know.
Have you made your class proud? Because Titans certainly are, as they hold a big lead in the final stretch. No matter the class, watching you all take part in this friendly competition, is always tremendously fun. Keep baking medallions till the end to earn more rewards. Huzzah. Well, hold on. Hunters actually came in second. I honestly, way better than I thought we'd do.
Yeah, I thought they were in third last time I checked.
Right? I was like, I can't see anything Hunters are interested in. Ooh, another scout rifle. Huzzah. Right?
I wish those flags in the tower were a little more accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like Warlocks are winning every single day, but like here, third place.
It's so weird. So, first place Titans, second place, as I just mentioned, Hunters, and by process of elimination, Warlocks have claimed the third place prize. And how is the Guardian Games Cup going? Several teams are still getting their points in, and we have raised over $125,000 for the Bungie Foundation. Thank you, everyone. Top 4 teams, money raised for the Bungie Foundation. We have, in first place, Developers. I'm not kidding, that's the actual name, and they brought in a whopping $44,000. Now, keep that in mind, as the team right behind them only brought in $7,000. So first place blew them out of the water. Good Lord. All right. In second place is Lost City Guardians. I mean, from 43 to 7, I can't even take you seriously. What?
Yeah, that's like raid completion numbers between like Scourge of the Past and Last Wish.
Right? Third place, Metagalactic Boomers. I love the name. And fourth place, Clan Archive.
Sounds like
I
a stock
guarantee that's
name.
a bunch of Warlocks. Yeah, I was gonna be. That's a bunch of Warlocks right there.
Yeah.
Top 4 teams for points scored. Okay, you got first place, which is the team by the name of Popcorn. Very simple. I like it. With 71,000 points. Right? Now, as before, we had I don't know. Let's see. 7 goes into 40, 44 how many times? Like freaking 6, right? Thereabouts.
Sounds, yeah.
Sure. So, whereas you had a multiple of nearly 6 differentiating first and second, now you only have about 2/3. So, 71,000 points for first place. Second place says Ursidei.
You're the first person to pronounce it as closely as it's supposed to be pronounced so far.
Yeah. How's it pronounced?
I think it's Ursadi.
Ursidei, which is Romanian for bear, right? So that's Urs, the way that I know it. And then Idei is like Latin for something that I can't remember. So yeah, I just threw that together. But that's 47,000 points. Not bad. Coming in
Respectable.
behind them, Travelers Chosen, the team, not the gun, at 27,000 points, and literally just behind them by 100 points differentiating them, you have fourth place, which is called Prayer, at 26.6 thousand points. So literally 123 points separated third and fourth place. Very
Shout
close,
out to Travelers Chosen for gaining sentience, just like Telesto did.
guys. Now, you get a new emblem for gifting Twitch subs. I have no idea what this is.
It looks like when you punched an old tube television.
Dude, yes! Oh my god, it does! Or like when you kick an LCD TV? Yes!
Yeah.
Dude! Okay, best description ever. Emblems! Don't you love emblems? Because we have a new one for you. Well, not only for you, but for everyone that takes part in a Twitch subscription bounty on their favorite content creators channel. Say, hola, buenos dias, which is hello, good morning, to the Pulsar approaching emblem. If you don't know how that works, or you want to have one on your Twitch channel, cool. We got you covered. Just head to the Destiny 2 Twitch extension support article in here, and those who have completed the Twitch sub bounty can collect a new Pulsar approaching emblem from Rahul in the tower starting May 28th at 9 a.m. PST. Now, the thing is I have that enabled on my Twitch stream, but nobody can see it. Every time I go to look at it, it says it's enabled. It even tells me where the hell the damn thing shows up on my screen, but it's not there. So,
yeah, I
guys,
think
I have it enabled for y'all. I just don't know what's going on. Sorry.
Yeah, there might be some kind of delay.
Yeah. First time gamer, long time streamer. No, the other way around. Player support report, in the words of one of our favorite podcast brethren, broken.
I knew you were going to
but
say
because
that.
we both know that Nighdemon's going to blot that out. You want to know what's broken? Go check it out.
Yeah.
Known issues. There's a lot. I'm not reading them. I don't care. B2B, all characters, all dungeons, solo flawless? Guys, you have too much time on your hands. Wow, that's 11 hours. If you got time, also, that's a nice ship. Look at that ship. What is that?
Where are you seeing this?
Yeah. I'm watching it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, well done. Second of all, what the is wrong with you? And third of all, if you guys want a YouTube video to kill 11 hours, definitely not Deacon approved, but here you go. All dungeons, solo flawless, B2B, all three characters, Season of Defiance. Wow. Artist of the week, we have some pictures here. Whoa, hello, brought me to Twitter. Was not expecting that. Season of the Deep, you got People in Water. You have Grasp of Avarice, drowning in 6 inches of water. Oh, man. And what else we got going on?
This is a nice Monarch picture.
Oh, that is a beautiful picture, actually.
Yeah.
Well done. Who is that? PL Art? Well done. Well done. Drifter watching the Season of the Deep trailer and seeing another alien creature he can cook.
Drifter absolutely does smoke.
Oh, 100%. And look at the phone in his hand. That's definitely an Android right there.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a week before Season of the Deep, don't forget to finish those seasonal challenges you might have pending. Maybe even unlock one more ornament for your ritual weapon. Ornament is a secret thing that you can click on. And get one of those last Taraxipos rolls. That and getting my vault in order is what I'll be doing, though I might need some help for that last thing because I promised myself I'll be going to 450 items. I currently have every character full and a vault of 599.
If I shared my vault, people would outrage. It is full of just garbage. I don't know what's good. I don't play enough PvE to know what's good, so I just pretty much keep everything that might be good. I have a lot of armor, but a lot of the guns are just like, oh, I have like 19 different out of bounds and 6 different fuse.
Well,
I don't even use snipers.
We have a website for someone just like you called d2checklist.com. What it does is it goes through and it tells you all the best loadouts for the weapons based on community notes and best rolls of armor based on your selections. Therefore, it goes through and tells you thumbs up, thumbs down, obviously delete, thumbs up, keep. You do need to have some discretion because some things, like, I think are better, and it's in the thumbs down category, so I keep that just because I think it's better. So some things you might not agree on, but for the most part, it's pretty reliable for what you can keep and what you can get rid of. And that's what I use every time I go through my vault and delete a bunch of stuff. So again, D2checklist.com. And as long as we're on it, thank you for joining us. Your Titans have been, well, it's usually Peroty, but today it's oh Lord,
Nitedemon and
no. Your first name is Lord Kenwa. That's right.
Yep.
So your Titans are Lord Kenwa and Nitedemon. Your hunter, as always, is me with my sidekick in the background giving his feedback, and your Lord Scribe does not exist. You can email us at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. We are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as Two Titans and a Hunter. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. That is a literal statement. Every single podcast app has us on there. Follow us on YouTube for each new episode, weekly update videos, and live streams. Those live streams most of the time are Nitedemon. I have build videos he told me to give him. I don't know if he's put them up there or not, but you will be seeing build videos soon. And we also have live streams with me. No One Respawns at No One Respawns in real life at that Twitch.tv.
What's your schedule?
Normally Thursdays. I've been traveling Thursdays this month, so I haven't done anything. But almost always Saturday mornings where I do the live stream of the show. And then Thursdays, we either do Dungeons & Dragons or I do some other video game. And then sporadically from that point forward. So, yeah, don't really have a set schedule because my work schedule is not set in stone. So, there you go.
Yeah.
We also have twotitansandahunter.com. It's our website you can go to for various tips, tricks, and skills. If you want to join the Otter Dance Troupe, threaten us with a good time, and throw more grenades, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/twotitansandahunter. Helps keep the lights on, and obviously Nitedemon is benefiting from it because you guys have helped him pay for some of his new Elijah. Dude. It gets louder and louder. Anyway, if you want to, okay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So Patreon has actually helped us financially. Nitedemon has gotten some upgrades he desperately needed. So we thank you guys for that. If you're looking for a more casual encounter, you can go to ko-fi.com or coffee.com. Sorry, it's ko-fi.com/Two Titans and a Hunter. That's just for nickel and dimes. You know, whatever you got on hand, just chuck our way. If you'd like the thrill of live action and spicy language, that's me. No One Respawns in real life. That's twitch.tv/No One Respawns in real life. And if you want to keep it family friendly like a proper British gentleman, head over to twitch.tv/Two Titans and a Hunter. That's mainly Nitedemon and whatever guest he happens to have on while he's live streaming. Okay? Merch, yep. I keep yelling at Nitedemon. Please, everybody, flood his email full of merch requests. Because we have the store. We have the capability. We just need him to finish the designs and to process the vector images. That is on him. I have asked if he needs help. He said no. He's got it covered. Get on him. Yell at him. Punch, kick. You see him in the street, drag him out. Draw and quarter him. That might be a little extreme. Tar and feather should be fine. No. But yes.
A more appropriate response would be to just DM him.
I'd be feeling boring about it. Nitedemon streams on twitch.tv/Two Titans and a Hunter, usually between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. UTC, which is about 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And we have our patrons list. You can't threaten Zep Orbit with a good time. We have our Otter Dance Troupe consisting of the T-Rex King, Dedicated Wham 64, the Scarlet KM, sounds seductive. Ooh. And BHS Nightcrawler, always my favorite freaking Marvel character. Let's go. You can throw more grenades like Carver 2782. He needs to practice. Win Noble could not hit the broadside of a barn, so he absolutely is throwing more grenades. Golden God 1562, basically an ACL. Zombie E Pops. Epps. I don't know how to say it. Please send me the proper way to say it. Renard Collin and Mello Malley, who's one of our new grenade chuckers. And if you just are looking for some approval from Deacon, but who does that? You have PB Pipe. Oh, she does that apparently. Lord Master Chaos. Dimwee! The Drifters Driftwood and Hate Quest. Yo! I had not heard that name before, or at least didn't pay attention. That's the name right there. He's on a hate quest. Yo, no wonder he's seeking Deacon's approval. Let's get her done. And yeah, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for watching the stream if you were here. And thanks for just being there for us all around. You know, we couldn't do this without any of y'all, despite what Night Demon thinks. So we greatly appreciate your feedback, your time, your patience, your efforts. And yeah. You got anything to say?
This podcast is like what I've been noticing. This is like the stepping stone podcast for like all the other podcasts. Because I hear like in GDC, like everyone comes from Two Titans and a Hunter. You guys, you should stick around. That's all I gotta say.
That's right. And I know that the Guardian Downcast has longer episodes, but please stop posting them as being your number one inside of your Spotify. Because every time y'all do that, I have to challenge them to a 1v1, and when I kick their asses, they're always very upset about it, right? You're creating a very hostile work environment between us and the Guardian Downcast, okay? So please stop posting them as your number one on Spotify, because it's only creating issues in the workplace, okay?
Mm-hmm. We don't want anyone's feelings to get hurt.
That's right.
Especially in the Crucible.
And basically, that's it for the show. Thanks for another week down in the books. I think this is episode 226. That is 225 more episodes than I thought we'd get away with. So, deuces.
Deuces.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
What the hell, me? Help me, sir.
Did he just say what the hell?
And he says, "Daddy, help me."
Oh,
Wow.
I have to listen back to that because I'm sure it says what the hell.
No, he gave me 2 pieces to his race car track, and he wants me to put them together.
We'll put them together then.
I'm doing this.
Good.
There you go.